so dry here.
Yeah, me here too.
Everyone has an inner shadow. When you acknowledge and respect that shadow, you can use its power for healing and personal evolution. Award-winning author Raven Digitalis provides 144 spells, charms, and rituals that make it simple to work with internal and external shadows for positive change, no matter your path or skill level.
Enoch, great mother, Ama and Ima, behold my return of Saturn. I have grown, lived, loved, and look ahead. Blessings to Saturn, mighty force of life. I honor the past and walk forward in wisdom. Subscribe.
Digitalis, welcome back to Magic Without Fears Hermetic Podcast. Good to see you. How are you doing?
Good. I'm just honored by your introduction. Thank you so much.
I put a bit more work into it. Yeah.
Oh, shucks. Oh.
Well, I added that little, added the like and subscribe thing to the end. So
I love that.
Do like and subscribe. I thought that was fun. You know, I had 1 month where I just messed around with some of the new tech that's out there, and that was fun. Yeah, it's always nice to improve our visuals and graphics for the audience. It's also fun to make them.
Oh yeah, and I see in the chat that one of my best friends, Trevor, has joined. So welcome, Trevor.
Hello, Trevor. Welcome. Yeah, we're because this is part 2. Hey, sup, occultology, good to see you. Because this is part 2, and we were quite structured last time talking about your different books, and there were some technical difficulties, so we didn't go too long. But things seem to be good now and nice and clear, and there's no it's all. So we're gonna go a little old school and just have fun. We agreed to this time have a chiller vibe perhaps than the formal best-selling Llewellyn author formal vibe, and so Raven and I have both agreed to imbibe some Vino Veritas, and we'll see what happens. Here's the Vino. Now on to the Veritas. Let's see what two empaths can cook up in on this beautiful Thursday.
One thing that stuck out to me with your introduction, your beautiful introduction. Thank you again.
Your words. In the invocation
I know.
that I read. Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, from self-promotion.
From the new book.
And look at this gloss on here. I just got a copy of the official one.
Oh.
Real.
Yeah, mine has a white bar on it. That's
yeah, you've got the promo. Yeah.
It says lots of typos. It says typos below. No,
it had about probably 6 typos, but we got.
I didn't notice any.
I did. Trust me. But yeah, so what you read from was the Saturn return spell ritual, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was I read that because I had just released a song on my YouTube, a video of me writing a song, like, you know, composing it about my Saturn return in the years following completing it. And so I was like, oh, that's like, you know, people won't know that, but we know that.
Yeah, there you go. Love it. What's interesting about that is that today would have been one of my dearest friends, Taylor's 30th birthday. He passed away, and this is no secret or anything, and he would be fine with me talking about this. He passed away on the 15th on Mahashivaratri, so a few days ago, from a fentanyl overdose. And so I've just been grieving and praying and, you know, being very thankful for his influence in my life. And I've lost 2 very good friends over the last year. And there's been loss of pets, and then loss of different things. And you know, I kind of and with in terms of the Saturn return, he was almost through his Saturn return, almost through it, and not everybody gets through it, especially the first one. So I just kind of chalk a lot of that up to the end of the year of the snake, with the shedding of the skin and the tail end, and letting people and things, animals and things that need to go, and that's okay, and it's not something to dwell and obsess on and just grieve and get and spiral over. And now here we are in the year of the fire horse. We've got this new invigorated energy, this going forth. It's like the Prince of Wands, and it's totally Prince of Wands energy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What are your kind of feelings on that?
I feel it. You know, it's a good vibe for me, especially as we head towards Aries. Yeah, I mean, we got to rock and roll with Pisces for a little while still, but we're heading into Aries. We're heading to spring. I mean, we're all feeling it by this time of the year. We're all like, okay, bring on the warm breeze. We're ready for that first lush scent of growth in the ground. I mean, you know, we still got some rough months ahead, as T.S. Eliot famously said, April is the cruelest month. Right? It's still some chill and cold where I live for a while, I think, depending on how it goes, and the groundhog and all that.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? We're already off to a great start.
Well, I meant to say Knight of Wands, not Prince of Wands. Excuse me.
I was thinking Page, actually, when you said the thing, I was thinking actually Page. So well, I got the right. Yeah.
I go by the 12th deck. Exclusively.
I empathically just knew what you meant.
Oh,
I just knew. We're connecting today. We're really gonna focus on that connection, I think.
All right.
And so also my sun has just gone into Aries in my progressed chart. It's been in Pisces since like my Saturn return. So I'm an Aquarius, and then I spent my 30s basically in Pisces, which explains a lot of my 30s, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
and now I'm going into Aries, and that's a really great time for me to get all the things going that I want to do with the rest of my life. And so yeah, Fire Horse, bring it on. Let's have a fiery horsey year.
And I want to introduce everybody to Catskills, my familiar, the icon, the one, the only, the icon, the Catskills. Oh, Catskills, say hi to everybody. They love you. So we do prayers to Goddess Bashed every day. And within those prayers, not only do we give thanks for our life together and for other cats who have crossed over and all the felines in the world, but also to all of his aunties and uncles and titis and medical staff and support team, and just send out those blessings, I try to do those global blessings every day. Personal blessings, family, friends, pets, blessings, and then shine it out globally. Mm-hmm. That's what I really like to do. Take that energy, because it's like, what's that quote from Ram Dass? The best thing that I can do for you is work on myself, and the best thing you can do for me is work on yourself, right? I believe that's a Ram Dass quote.
Absolutely. It seems connected to the idea of, as much as we worry about what's going on in the world, if you can't take care of your own environment, then that's a bigger problem, right? Yeah. Like, if you can't treat the people around you nice, if you can't foster meaningful relationships with people in your community and bring peace there, then what's all your bitching and moaning about, some other country gonna mean? Doesn't mean much if you can't bring peace to your own life.
Right. And we can't get fragmented too, because there's so much shit going on. It's incredible, from local to national to global to all these things. I know you're in Canada, but you're still feeling the echo of the USA, and everybody is, I had a rare event the other weekend. It was sort of a belated birthday party for me with my friends, kind of. Basically what we did is a buddy's wife and kid were on the island, one of the islands, for the weekend. So he decided to stay, and we did a whole weekend of D&D.
both days, and that
Of
was
of
really
DMT,
awesome.
you did
Dungeons and
DMT?
Dragons,
Oh,
of Dungeons and
I thought you
Dragons,
said
of
DMT.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, that
Oh,
would a whole weekend of
that would
that
have
would
been
be
a different week.
that's a different experience. It's a different kind of experience, but yeah, so we had a whole weekend to finish off 2 campaigns we'd started, and we concluded them beautifully. But I was going through downtown in the Uber, and it took 45 minutes to go just like 6 blocks, because we had like 100,000 people, with Iranian flags protesting what's going on in Iran. And it was interesting because I was told it's sort of the same group that is the Free Palestine protests. But in this version of their iteration, they also had Jewish and American flags. So that's what was something I've never seen, a protest where 90% Iranian flags, but those same people are holding up American and Israeli flags because they want Israel and America to overthrow Khomeini, of course. So but then there's the counter protests who are also holding Iranian flags, but they don't want to they want to free Palestine. And they don't want intervention in Iran, but they do want intervention in Palestine, of course. But the people who want intervention in Iran also therefore were holding American and Israel. It's such an intersectionalism is the word, right? Like there is no sorting out that bowl of pasta. There's no organization possible because it's just too many competing values. And when you get to a certain level of competing values, you have no good decisions often, right? Either way, there's going to be a bad result for someone.
Right. And that reminds me of how an old friend of mine who saw a picture of me with rainbow LGBT flag at the No Kings protest, the last one. There's a big one coming up March 28th, of course. But the last one, she was like, so why are you holding the rainbow flag? And why are a few other people holding that in these images during the No Kings protest? I'm like, well, the thing is that every marginalized community, Black, brown, queer, you name it, women are being targeted. Females, like trans people, you name it, like, and so it's just about representation and being like, hey, here's a presence. It's kind of like when a conservative Wiccan friend of mine from years ago took part in desecrating the rainbow crosswalk here in my hometown, Missoula, Montana. Saying we don't want it in our faces. I'm like, it's just a fucking crosswalk that's painted with rainbow colors, for one, and number two, everything is heterosexual and cisgender in our faces everywhere anyway, and he just didn't really respond to that. And I'm like, but we're not protesting against that. It's just being like, hey, we exist. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, I live in the Rainbow Crosswalk part of town, and I freaking love it, of course, because it's always usually the best part of a town to live in.
In Vancouver.
Yeah, I'm in the heart of, I'm in Davie Village, which, even the gay people who dominate here call it Gavy Village because it's a gay village. It is the gay village, and we're all very happy here. It's quite a nice place to be, and it's got a mixed intersection of everyone, of course. But like the gay men are the awesomest, like, and that's where you'll find actually the biggest range of political spectrum. I find actually as well, whereas everyone else sort of gets cautious and worried to talk about what they think and segment themselves often in social groups, but not here because the overall social group is LGBTQ. And so within that, yeah, you got a wide spectrum of opinions that all voice their opinions very clearly. And I've been often very surprised. I'll be sitting with two gay guys and they'll start going on about like, we need MAGA. And I'll be like, whoa, that came out of left field. I didn't expect that. And then they go on a whole tirade. I'm like, wow, yeah, it's this is a truly diverse part of town that I live in.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, and freedom of speech is something we all deserve and all deserve to hold on to. And I just feel like as long as it's not literally harming anyone, that's our birthright for everybody. It should be. And
we gotta have
it's a beautiful thing. So I see one comment from occultology here, mentioning the year of the fire horse that we have just entered, where a lot of babies would be killed
Is that
because,
true?
yes. So
Oh,
synchronistically, I hung out with an old friend and her husband and new adopted son yesterday at their hotel because they were passing through for a medical thing, and just wonderful people. And so her husband mentioned to me, because he studied feng shui, Chinese astrology, acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, these things. He mentioned that abortions and things like that would happen 60 years ago, the last time that we had a year of the fire horse. So I did some more research into that today. Synchronistically, that's how it works.
yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? And it turns out that there's an old Japanese, not Chinese myth, old Japanese, well, story, just a story about a woman who was year of the fire horse, who went crazy and burnt down a village. And so it just created this stigma within Japan. I don't know how it is within China and other Asian countries, but definitely within Japan, that females born during the year of the fire horse are subject to killing or abusing their husbands or society, or just be a social menace and just too much to handle and control because patriarchy. And so that's where that originated. So it was just really interesting. Like literally when I woke up this morning, that stuck with me. I'm like, I need to research this a little more. So yeah, it just all comes down to a story, and that's where superstitions often come from. And so here we are in another fire horse year, and I would like to think that people have evolved since 60 years ago. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, it's synchronicity indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Yeah. Well,
So
before we move on,
yeah.
since we touched on it, do you have thoughts? Normally, I don't ask people this stuff, but this one's so interesting, and there's such obviously clear competing values. I'm actually very curious to know what everyone thinks, because I don't even know what I think, and usually I have a pretty good sense of what I feel is my opinion. You know, I usually have that. I'm in touch with that usually, and for some reason, and this one, Iran. I don't know, because I'm not a big fan of interventionism, but I'm also not a big fan of, the lack of rights and freedoms that they have there and what they do to women.
Same.
That stuff. We won't say all the words because, we want to get some algorithm love on the YouTubes. But yeah, I'm curious if other people struggle with that one as much as me, or if they have a very clear sense of we should overthrow the government or not. Do you have a sense of that? By we, of course, we mean America. It's always on you guys. The rest of us just get to say what we think and then blame you if it doesn't turn out well.
I do what I can. My brother is more politically active, and my mother is more politically active. She's actually currently the current treasurer for the local League of Women Voters, which is nonpartisan. And it encourages people to vote and register to vote, because that's where our voice matters. Yeah. My brother is really good at calling Congress people, and I'm better at signing petitions and going to protests and sending postcards. That's one thing that I talk about in a couple of my books. Actually, these two, I just have my books on hand. My Esoteric Empathy, and then Shadow Magick Spellbook, the new one. I talk about postcards for change in both of those, because if we send an email, we all get a million emails a day, especially politicians and bigwigs. And if we send a letter that's all sealed up, may or may not get seen. If you send a postcard, much more likely to get seen. So I love postcard activism, and you don't need a return address.
I like that. I'm going to try that. Someone in our government here once told me, when I was asking about a situation with the rent evictions that were running rampant, destroying everyone's lives here because, you know, they couldn't get a new place that they could afford to live in the rest of their lives. You know, a lot of people just relied on getting a decent 1 or 2 bedroom place and staying there till they die because they know they'll never own anything or whatever. And then they figured out a way to rent evict everyone, and the government came in with laws too late. So, you know, and I was told by the government guy that a letter, including an email, is considered as representing as 1,000 people.
Yes,
So
I've
when
heard
someone
that too.
takes the time to actually do that, they do consider it to represent about 1,000 people's opinion. So
Yeah.
if they get a ton of letters, they listen. That's true. Our government works for us.
I've heard the same thing, and I've done that so many times with animal activism also. Yeah, animal rights activism, and you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, anybody in the comments who's live that wants to chime in, help give us some topics for conversation or some of your opinions or feedback, or read us and give us some shit.
We're certainly happy to engage with the listeners today for sure. Actually, you even mentioned a while back that you maybe even pull out your oracle cards that you designed and do some draws for people. So maybe we'll save that to the end, give people a reason to stick around.
I've got my oracle cards on hand, so yes, thanks for reminding me. Yes, Empath's Oracle and Gothic Witch's Oracle are my 2 decks. This is on Crossed Crow Books. It's the newest one.
Well, I'll definitely
the newer one, Gothic Witch's Oracle. It's all photographic artwork with John Santornaros, and the Empath's Oracle is all acrylic artwork. Neither of these are virtual or AI. They're all raw.
Well, I'm curious. I genuinely want to know. Let's start with the goth one. Yeah. Who did you work with? Who is they? And what was the process like for your collaboration and creative input? How did you go about doing it in a way that you felt was going to capture your vision and also appeal to people?
Yeah. Naughty Gnostic, that's a cute name.
We got some fun people in the chat today. Naughty Gnostic, hello. Shout out.
Could you pull a card on Empath Oracle for the Fire Horse here? Oh, yeah. Yep, I sure. Oh, Pandora. Hi. Yeah, Pandora is an incredible psychic reader, an empath, and a good friend. Yeah. So, yes, indeed, I will do that right after I finish describing.
Right after Raven tells me about the artist and the art. Yeah, I want to know because, like, and
John
then we'll do it.
Yeah. So John Santornaros is the artist here for the for the Gothic Witch's Oracle, and this was released just not even 2 years ago, and he and I connected when I was a teenager and exploring photography, black and white Gothic photography. And I saw his work on the cover of different albums like industrial and goth bands like Attrition, especially Attrition. I was like, wow, this photographic artwork is incredible. And so when I was a teenager, I was like, hey, can you give me some pointers for my art? And this is in the early days of the internet. Here are a few of my photographs. And so he gave me some great tips, and I made some great images after that. And then later I became a writer instead. After a mushroom journey informed me that was my path instead of photography. And so I got the inclination when I was living in Hawaii before moving back here to Montana to reach out to him and be like, you know what? The spirits or whatever, the powers that be, are giving me the inclination to create a Gothic Witch's Oracle deck, especially because my first book, Goth Craft, is out of print, something that I would not write now. I would not write with a W.
But I found a copy, and it's on its way. It'll be here. Yeah. It'll be here in 6 to 20 weeks.
I don't recommend it, but
too bad. Okay. Too bad. Plus, my buddy edited it. So it ties you in.
Jason Louv, yeah.
It ties you into Jason Louv in an interesting way, which is fun. Who doesn't want to be tied to him? Because he's very calm and careful about what he says all the time.
I think he's I think he's slightly controversial lately, but
Yeah,
but
maybe
yeah,
just a little bit.
but
But it
we
was
all
funny because I told him you were texting me while I was playing D&D with him on Zoom or Mage the Ascension or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, Raven Digitalis says hi." He's like, "Oh, hi, say hi," and then he was like, "Could you also apologize to him for me?" I was a bit of a dick back then, so you
he
know,
was he
and
was yeah,
yeah,
and
and
I
he's
mean
he
it's
says
okay.
he's been on a personality journey, you know, which it's really nice to see when especially when someone that famous who's a magician you know, admits that, because yeah, there's such a temptation when you get well known to try and seem better and more perfect than you are. It's a temptation,
It's
and
true.
it's
Well,
amazing to see someone who's serious about their journey be like, yeah, no, I'm I'm working on that's work in
yeah,
progress.
we're all a work in progress, and no, I couldn't even begin to express my gratitude for his edits in my book. I think I just have my whole stack here. Oh yeah, here's the first book. I know you showed it earlier, but yeah, Goth Craft.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's just gorgeous. Yeah, my first book
Oh my
ever
God, I'm
with
so excited to get
Llewellyn.
it. See, you
And
shouldn't be exciting people to want to get it if you don't like it anymore, but I'm excited that I found a secondhand
okay, well
copy and
get this instead.
get that
This
instead.
summarizes the main points from the book in a more modern way, and also it's more consumable and more practical because you can draw cards from it, you know. And it's just like, I don't know, I'm just much more vibing with that now. But the way that I met John Santorneros, the photographer, yeah, like I mentioned, like back when I was a teenager, and so I reached out to him when I was in Hawaii just a few years ago, and I was like, hey, do you remember when we talked back then, and when like 20 years ago or something, and would you be interested in a Gothic Witch's Oracle deck, because I have all these card titles coming to me and blah blah blah. And he told me, which I say in the introduction in the booklet that comes with this, the guidebook that comes with it rather, he's gotten dozens of offers for tarot and oracle decks using his artwork, and it never felt right until now. And he remembered me, and I'm just honored. Like, and the publisher, Cross Crow Books, because they're independent publisher in Chicago, they decided to free the nipple, so there's a boobies in it. And it's like, you don't see that much with photographic decks, like, ever. Oh, thank you, Rob. Hi, Rob. And now I can't hear you.
That's I had myself
Now I can
muted,
hear you.
so I didn't.
Now I can hear you.
So you didn't hear me
No.
chug-a-lugging on the vino while you were talking. Yeah, a bunch of your
Oh,
people
I better.
are. We had a flow. We had a flow while you were talking. We
That's why.
tripled our viewership while you were talking. Oh my God, there's too many comments to catch up on. Okay, we're gonna put a break on the comments. Well, yeah, the comments are on screen. We'll
Don't
read
put
the
a
comments
break
in a
on the
bit. I want to hear. No, I just mean I want to finish hearing about the artistic process behind the decks. Then we can pull some cards. But
Yes.
yeah, the decks are really interesting to me because I've never gotten into Oracle decks, but there's nothing I don't like about them. I think Oracle decks are very cool. Yeah. I touched on this with Mary Kay Greer last night. I like the parameters that are set by Tarot Study, and we talked about why that's important, actually. Actually, I didn't even realize that I would think it's as important as it is, but by the end of that convo, check out my Mary Kay Greer interview, people. It was very good. So Oracle decks are interesting because they don't have the same parameters, but they can have the same parameters, or they can have still parameters. They can't, obviously you can't be like corresponding them to the Golden Dawn system of correspondences anymore, right? No. But that frees them up to a new new avenues of interpretation and approaches to accessing our intuition.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I mentioned that
interests me.
Yeah, and I mentioned that in both of the decks, in the guidebooks. I'm just like, okay, tarot versus oracle. Tarot is very traditional tarot. Of course, there's bajillion novelty tarot decks, which are great and they're fun. But traditional tarot is, as you know, Kabbalistic, astrological, color based, all these different esoteric occult things. It's Western mystery,
and largely because of the Golden Dawn.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
They weren't very Kabbalistic before that.
Before that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And even the Golden Dawn, they weren't using the Rider-Waite deck. They created the Rider-Waite deck. They were using the Marseille deck and coloring that in with their new color system that Mathers had created with Westcott. Yeah.
Marseille before that. Okay, gotcha. And by the way, I'll just drop a quick promotion here. My friend Emily Muniz just created this Lenormand Simplicity Norman Tarot. This is on US Games. Sorry, not tarot. Lenormand is totally distinct from tarot and oracle decks. Totally different system. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing a little video about that. But US Games just sent this to me to promote, and so here I am promoting it.
Promote it, yeah. It allows me to say a student let me know about Lenormand the other year, and I found a while back a Celtic Lenormand deck, so I will get that at some point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tu parles français way better than I do.
Lenormand.
You're in Canada. You're going to be parlaying much more better français than I am in America.
Merci. Mon français incroyable. C'est n'est pas difficile pour moi. Salon. Just kidding. Oh my God, my French is horrible. But I can make do. It's not a hard language. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's all Latin.
The nice thing about studying harder languages like Greek and such is when you then go back to Romance or romantic languages, anything, German, French, they just seem so much easier. Like Spanish, studying Spanish or looking at Spanish or French after a month of Greek, oh boy, you just are like, oh, this is, I can, the letters are like, I don't have to think about anything. I can just, you can just get into the grammar.
Funny? Yeah. So funny how that works. Linguistics is one of the 4 branches of anthropology. So my degree is in cultural anthropology. And then there was linguistics, which I barely passed.
Yeah.
And then there's biological, and then forensic. Yeah. But
I aced linguistics. There's four disciplines within linguistics. I aced all of it except for syntax. I actually failed my syntax test. Not because I don't understand syntax, but I guess I just didn't understand a key aspect of the theory behind it. And so I actually gave up on studying philology. I changed course entirely in university because I'm like, well, if I don't have a facility with the discipline, maybe I shouldn't go into philology. And then I started refocusing on romantic poetry, which, that was fun. And that led me to theology.
Wonderful. Yeah, we need to go with what we vibe with and what with our skill set. Like my friend Trevor, who's watching now, he recently became sorry, okay. brain, not physician's assistant, an assistant to who gives you the medicine. Brain. Anyway, okay, my brain's not functioning.
Yeah, we were talking about
Trevor.
The design of the decks, how you.
Okay, so
Lenormand. I don't know. Let's see.
Yes, pharmacy technician. Yes, thank you. Yes, pharmacy technician. Yes, which ties into his natural inclinations with alchemy is where I was going with that. Why could my brain not come up with pharmacy? It's like we have these giant brains that have all of these things going on, and sometimes we just can't think of the right word. So he's activating the alchemy in that way. We have to go with our natural inclinations. And I tried to do all these different things in college. Like I had 6 different majors. I'm like, no, I just don't resonate with that. Don't resonate with that or that. Like I'm trying it. And then I tried business degree for about 20 minutes. I'm like, this is not happening. But anyway, back to the decks.
Yeah.
So yes, Empath or Gothic Witch's Oracle, freeze the nipple. There are titties in here. Highly recommended. And
But how could you make all these decks and be such a successful author without a business degree?
well, that's what publicists and publishers are for. That's why. Like, because none of them are independently published. So I've got Llewellyn in Minneapolis, my primary publisher. Got my secondary publisher, Cross Crow in Chicago, who are now distributed by Red Wheel Wiser, which distributes, again, this one, and then also distributes my second favorite book I've written, A Witch's Shadow Magick Compendium. Nice and thick. I'm so happy with this book.
I don't know much
Yeah.
about that one. Didn't really look into it. Would I like that one?
Oh, I think you'd like it a lot because it's more
Yeah.
philosophical, whereas my new one is more practical. But they're complementary.
Okay.
They're very complementary. And
I will put it on the list.
yeah, thanks. I appreciate your support. And
I like your work.
I appreciate that. And yeah, but with the Empath's Oracle, I connected with Constantine Bax in Hawaii also because I had the idea, or it's not me, it's the powers that be and reality and synchronicity. You know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think I even mentioned it in the guidebook that comes with the deck, that I pulled over the car when I was driving back home after work, because I worked with folks with developmental disabilities for 15 years, right? And so after work one day, I pulled over the car because I had all these things coming in, and modern new age terminology for that is like a download, right? Which sounds, I like that term. Why not? And so I just took out my phone and I'm like, okay, this card, this card, this card, this card. And I'm just writing them all down on my phone. And I'm like, okay, this needs to be created in Empath's Oracle specifically for empaths, or those who identify as empath or who have a high level of emotional sensitivity. And they just came, and then I processed it for a couple days, and I was like, okay, well, I need an artist to go with this. I've never done an Oracle deck before, or any kind of deck. And I would not create a tarot deck, by the way, because tarot, like we were talking about, is very more meta scientific. Oracle decks are more intuitive and inspirational, also meaningful. And so I just typed online, I'm like, modern abstract psychedelic artists, surrealist artists and things. And then there was this article that came up, and then he was the only one that stuck out. Constantine Bax, he's the only one that stuck out during that research. And I emailed him, and he's in Germany. Heard back the next day, he's like, I am on board. This is perfect. And I love the work that you've done. I love your message. This vibes exactly with my work. And he even created a couple special cards for the deck. The others are based on, from his earlier works. But they all just aligned. And so like we just collaborated long distance like that and co-created, and then Llewellyn publishers loved it, and they felt that vibe too, and so they helped co-create it and bring it into reality. And I still can't believe that it even came to be. Like, both of my Oracle decks are just so gorgeous, and that's not because of me. It's because of the artists. It's because of the publishers. It's just because of the co-creation of it. It's because of the feedback from these decks and how much these things have helped change people's lives for the better. And it's just an honor. So I'm going to pull a card like Pandora suggested. And again, Pandora Papaz is a psychic in Chicago. Highest recommendations for her work. Okay, for the year of the fire horse, what is a good lesson for all of us synchronistically right here that we need to hear?
Hopefully Pandora's still here.
Releasing emotional weight.
You know what? I can totally see that being what we need this year. Like, the whole planet just needs to get it out, kind of. You know what I mean? But hopefully, and that could be in a very destructive World War III kind of way, unfortunately. We don't want that. We want to find a better way.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure how to do that, Thank you very much, Teak. That's much appreciated.
You can give money
And
on here?
yeah, please super chat people. That really helps out the channel. The software for streaming is very expensive. And I put a lot of work and time into the intro
Oh,
videos and outro videos
thank you,
and shit.
Pandora.
So
Yeah,
thank you everyone who supports my my hosting these wonderful guests.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a great
he's so
card.
good. Please subscribe to Freighter's channel. Yes.
Thank you.
So, and thank you, Pandora, for the feedback and suggestion. And yeah, releasing emotional weight. I hope it doesn't take anything extreme. I mean, we're already going to extremes right now, but I'm going to show that card again. It's one of my favorite cards.
It's gorgeous.
There's just, yeah, and again, all of these pieces in the Empath's Oracle, they're all acrylic. There's no digital alteration at all. And
beautiful.
Anyway,
you can just see all the energy rising up the spinal column into the dot, into the knowledge sphere, you know, struggling and competing with our third eye for clarity from the divine.
Right. And it kind of reminds me of the middle pillar ritual that you mentioned when we were talking earlier.
That's why we bring divine white brilliance through each sphere down the pillar to clarify all these colors and swirls. We just want to clarify balance and then see what comes up afterward, after we've, you know, sifted all the clumps out of the flower.
Yeah, sift it out. Yeah, I love that. It's a great analogy.
Transmute the klepote and the shells and just get the grain.
Exactly. So for those watching, just think about how this corresponds to your life, releasing emotional weight. So this looks different for everybody. We're carrying a lot of our own emotional weight and that weight of others around us, our friends, our coworkers, our clients, our animals, and then the news, the world, the goings on in the country and in the globe, and whatever your country is, whatever, you know, we're all in the same globe and in the same time sphere right here. So let's look at the synchronicity, because that's how things often tend to work. You get messages when you're supposed to. So think about what releasing emotional weight means to you. I know what it means for me with this card pull, especially here at the end, the tail end again of the shedding of this year of the snake. And this card, as it's explained in the guidebook for the Empath's Oracle, is very personal. Like, emotions are a very personal thing. So, and then I'll just show off the deck for those who are just tuning in. One thing that's just helped me personally, in addition to meditation for processing emotional extremes, I should mention that, and I've posted about this briefly online in the past, is TMS therapy. I actually got a touch-up TMS therapy today, a maintenance therapy, a freebie today. It can be thankfully covered by, this treatment can be covered by, you know, different insurance providers in the US and Canada, where you're at. And it's often the first go-to in many Western European countries before they prescribe any antidepressants or benzos or anything like that. But TMS stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation. And this is a therapy where I call it brain magnet therapy. You put on a helmet, everything is tailored to you. It stimulates certain regions in the brain. Like for me, it has been chronic depression and anxiety, these disorders, as they say, which are quite common, especially for very empathic people. And you go in for 36 sessions. It's a commitment. And it helps this, you know, you basically get like 10,000, I think it is, magnetic pulses in a 15-minute session. It goes off every 8 seconds with the helmet, and you just hang out and you just watch something funny on the TV that they have, or like nature scenes or something. but it does rewire the brain and the neurosynapses. And for me, with all this death energy that's been happening for the last 2 or 3 weeks, this in the past would have caused me to spiral, to get a bottle of tequila, to take 3 weeks off tarot readings and professional work and writing and all these things, and just like spiral into this grief. And now my brain won't let me. And I'm like, thank you, TMS. And so highest recommendations for those who struggle with, or those that listeners and viewers know, like friends and family or whatever, that struggle with chronic depression and anxiety and OCD or addiction issues. It really, Parkinson's, it can target so many different things, TMS. It was a big lifesaver for me, because right now, based on what's happened in my sphere the last few weeks, again, I would just be spiraling if it wasn't for this treatment. And it's not placebo. It's very, very much scientifically proven. So I just had to, drop a little mention about TMS here, and my intuition said earlier today to do that, especially after I got the little touch-up session today. But yeah.
It's very timely, because the fellow who runs the Reddit r/occult and invited me on for an AMA a little while back. I did it. Go check it out on Reddit. I'm now a Redditor, apparently, whatever that means. I actually couldn't even reply to their questions in full. I could only reply in snippets, because I've never really been on Reddit, so I don't have enough karma, apparently, to actually participate properly. And they just couldn't. No one could believe that I'm just not on Reddit. I suppose I think people are on Reddit assume everyone's on Reddit, probably. It's like, yeah, I have an account, but like I've commented 3 times, and usually that's just to be like, no, the Golden Dawn tradition's alive and well. It didn't really break up like people think. And then they're all like, blah blah blah, and tons of comments, and I just ignore it, because, like, post and ghost. That's my philosophy. But, I had a few comments out there, but not enough credit or karma. So it was tricky to do the AMA. But that guy who invited me, he's big into this. He showed me his setup. He's got amazing little devices he's made. And I was really curious about that. So it's interesting to hear you talk about its results and effects. And I will be probably hearing more about it and looking more into it in the future. Yeah. Very interesting. I'm a big fan of magnets.
Yeah, magnets, bitch. Magnets, bitch.
Magnets are awesome.
Yeah, and even I'm just shamelessly self-promoting. In my new Shadow Magick Spellbook, comes out March 8th. Llewellyn, one of my editors at Llewellyn, was so kind to let me insert a little PS in the little space that I had in near the introduction about TMS therapy. I was like, PS. Many people have found lots of great results about XYZ. So I can barely just
let me put this on screen. This is a good one. Any recommendations, thank you, Teeked, on how to help folks who don't subscribe to magic or meditation during these tumultuous times? If I can just chime in first, you don't need to. You kind of need to subscribe to magic to do it. Not really, but it helps because willpower, intention, visual, all those things. Like, we're working with spirits in magic, but meditation you don't need to believe in at all for it to benefit you. Just stare at a point on the wall for 5 minutes a day and watch your entire reality shift. Swear to God. But yeah, pass it over to you, brother.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of guided meditations. Like, we can access those things on YouTube and all these other different platforms. Just, look, give the world at our fingertips. Just type in 10-minute guided meditation and see what you resonate with, which voice feels good. Because, like you said, meditation, it's not dogmatic. It's not religious. It's just human. It's just meditation.
And we've done, at this point we've done tons of studies, scientific studies, charting the results of meditation. So it'll work whether you believe in it or not. Whereas I wouldn't recommend to someone to summon a spirit if they don't believe in spirits. Exactly. Like, you might get yourself in trouble. or you might, or also you're just also not being congruent with your own self. So being incongruent with yourself is always probably slightly damaging to your psyche, right?
Yeah, and don't do anything that doesn't feel right, and yet push the boundary of comfort a little bit. I advocate for that a lot. Push your comfort boundary just a little bit, not too much. You don't have to do too much, but
But
just
what
kind of get.
advice do we have for people who are like, who are just saying, let's pretend they said, who don't want to do magic or don't want to do meditation? If someone just wants to keep living their regular life, not sure how you ended up on this stream, but welcome.
Yeah, no, it's
Absolutely.
great. It's great.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, what do you do then? What could you do if you're just living your workaday in the workaday world?
Well, I know it's a Buddhist kind of thing. Well, not exclusively Buddhist, but mindfulness is extremely important. So one thing that helps me if I'm feeling anxious and overwhelmed during these tumultuous times is right. It's just like, okay, if my brain is thinking too much about all these different things happening that I can't have any effect over, feel physical sensations. Here we are in our bodies. Yes, we're conscious, obviously. Consciousness, this giant mystery. But here we are in our bodies and we have our senses. So if you have sight, look and see what you can see. If you have hearing, hear what you can. Taste whatever's in your mouth. Breathe and come back. Get present. We can all get present. That has nothing to do with meditation, religion, or magic. Well, it does, but you know what I mean. It has to do with humanity. So just come back to your humanity. One thing that I was taught also is, that's helped me a lot, is tap. If I'm feeling anxious, tap, 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 tap. Cross your arms and just tap on right under your shoulders like that. Nice and slow. Take the time. Come back to center. This is not dogmatic. It's not religious. It's not magical. It's physiological. And you see this whole thing with the two sides of the body. This connects back to what you mentioned about the middle pillar ritual, so bringing it back to magic, but also back to science with the TMS that I mentioned, the brain magnet therapy, because that stimulates two different regions of the brain. It also connects to EMDR therapy, which is, again, scientifically proven. When you follow one way to the other, you relive a trauma. I've done this a few different times. And so much about science and magic. And one thing that I bang on about all the time is balance, just coming back to balance. So yeah, we've got the two sides of ourselves, the two spectrums. We've got the masculine and feminine energy interplaying. We've got the day and the night. We've got these dualities interplaying, and they're beautiful. And nothing is 100% in either duality, whether that's day or night, or male or female, or gay or straight, or whatever. It's like nothing is 100% is how I see it. And it's all this interplay. And so here we are in life, in this grand interplay, and just need to center ourselves. It's all about centering ourselves. And Teach, thanks for your comments. Yeah, you don't have to practice like magic that's external. You should just focus on yourself, and bettering yourself and mindfulness. Like, you might like a book called The Buddhist Atheist. If you're atheistic, there's a book called the Buddhist Atheist, because that's one system of philosophy that is not restricted to religion. Of course, it gets syncretized in all these different religious expressions, but and then the first chapter of my Shadow Magick Spellbook is all about the internal shadow work, because we all have to start with the internal before we move on. So weed helps. Yeah, peace trees. Yeah, nice name. Yeah, sativa and indica. Yeah, honestly, cannabis opened my first level of reality. So I was, 16? And The first time I smoked weed with some friends, it didn't do anything, but that's a common thing because the body doesn't know what it is. And then the second time, thank goodness we were not at the mall like the first time at the frickin' mall. The second time, I was at their apartment and I was like, what's going on? Reality is shifting and like all these things are happening and coming in. And so I was super sensitive to cannabis, and it lifted this veil of reality. And then I overdid it for a number of years after that, to the point where now I can't even use cannabis because even a little bit causes crippling paranoia. And I wish it didn't. I'd love to be friends with her again. It's just, yeah, but it's different for everyone. And if you can, yeah, balance those things, and if others here can balance working with the cannabis spirit, awesome. I love that for you. A little jealous, but that's okay. You're muted. I can't hear you.
I was just saying, sorry about that. We go on journeys with medicines. They take us on journeys, and like I was very anti-cannabis my whole life until like the doctors were like, you can't keep taking like codeine for your pain. You just can't keep doing it, or opioids. And I was like, okay, well, I had to try cannabis, and it saved my life, man. It gave me the chance to keep working because otherwise you're on the street, and we don't have shit like SNAP or section whatever housing. We don't have that. Like you the street here, you are dead meat. There's very little hope that you will get off of it. I don't know why people think Canada has a better social welfare system than the States. We got nothing on you. You guys, like, you guys make us look like anti-socialists when it comes to how the opportunities you. Yeah, it's like seriously. I didn't realize this till recently, but it's true. So cannabis helped me keep working until I figured out what was wrong with my back, and then I got off the cane. Didn't need a cane anymore, and didn't end up in a wheelchair like they said I was, because the doctors didn't give a shit. They weren't trying to help me at all. They wouldn't even give me an X-ray. I had to figure it out for myself after years of excruciating pain, like waking up screaming every morning, going to bed when I drugged myself to sleep. For like 4 years I was on that merry-go-round of torture, and I just didn't want to die. Thank God we didn't have the MAID thing yet, because I would have taken it, guaranteed I would have taken it. And so thank God for cannabis. That thing, now I don't need it. I take it instead of T3s or codeine now if I need it.
Oh, yeah.
So like for my psoriasis, because I'm always bleeding from psoriasis. So at nighttime it helps me sleep if I'm in a lot of psoriasis pain.
Yeah.
And cannabis is but it can definitely, you can run your time with it, and it can lead you into some paranoia, and also it could also just be like deflate your will to move forward. You can have your time with these things. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's so true. And then when I was in it, I didn't expect that I thought I would be smoking weed till the day I died. Like, I didn't expect that there would be a timeline with it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Teaked. And these other comments coming in. Sorry, I have to lean in a little bit.
Yeah, no, let me put them on the screen.
Yeah, great. Yeah, good comments.
There's so many, I don't know which one to put on the screen.
No, I see them. Yeah, good stuff. One thing that helps me that is technically an opioid but it's not chemical, is Kratom or Kratom.
Mm-hmm.
So every few days I will microdose psilocybin. I didn't say that. I will I'll take Kratom or Kratom, just a half a teaspoon, and it helps with body pain a lot and anxiety. So just saying, just throwing out the plant medicines.
Yeah, Kratom is big here. You can take it too far, like anything. Trying Kratom is what made me really realize that I'm just not good with anything like that. Like that's why I didn't do well on opioids. I tried Kratom one night when I was in quarantine up at Chris Bennett's psychedelic retreat center when I came back to Canada during lockdown, because you have to go into quarantine. And I was in the cabin in the woods. It was awesome. But I tried Kratom one night. I didn't sleep a wink. I couldn't stop rolling around. I felt like there's things crawling under my skin. My brain was going. I was like borderline psychotic break. And I was like, oh, last time I felt like this, I actually had a psychotic break. You know, a minor one. I was just like, you know, biked through the streets like in a t-shirt howling for a few hours. Just a minor one. And that's because I went to the hospital. I was in there for 36 hours trying to get an x-ray for my spine. And I wore a suit and tie because they wouldn't even talk to me the other times I went into the hospital in an emergency. And after 36 hours, they sent in a social worker. He's like, look, we just don't want to, we don't want to deal with you. I'm like, I need an x-ray. I'm in pain. They're like, yeah, the nurses have confirmed you're not faking it. Your blood pressure's out of control. Here is 5 morphines. And the guy said, if you don't take these, we're not going to do anything else for you. You got to take these and get out of here. You can sell them on the street. You can use them to buy whatever you want. And I was like, you motherfuckers, I am not an addict. I'm not interested here in drugs. I'm allergic to most of these things. I want an x-ray. And they just wouldn't do it. And the journey for me to recovery was still 2 more years after that to get my back fixed. And it was fixable, but they did not want to believe that. They just wanted to give me pills that they suggested I sell on the street. This is a hospital in Canada, right? So seriously, you know, I still can't get a family doctor to save my life. I can't get an appointment with a doctor no matter what. I've offered paying people, no chance.
Other countries have
Sorry for the rant. It's an emotional subject.
No, that's okay. Like, these bodies are fragile. They're difficult to deal with for everybody who's listening or watching. Like, they identify too. These bodies can be fucking fickle. And so can the governmental things. And, you know, insurance and lack of insurance and universal healthcare, lack of it, or the in-betweens. And like, other countries have got it down. That's something that both of our countries, Canada and US, need to catch up with for sure. Big time. I mean, when they want to actually help people instead of just themselves. So
we have 2 different systems here and in the States, and they're both broken.
I guess so. I didn't realize the extent of it. I am at least happy that Canada has the availability of doctor-assisted suicide or death. Doctor-assisted death. Because one of my great cousins recently did that a number of years ago, and it was beautiful. Kevorkian style. Not really.
It can be good. I think I do feel like for people who are terminally ill and suffering and have, you know, there's problems to do it. Right now, the problems are actually they've just finally peaked. Like, America's finally talking. Yeah, you know, there's a slippery slope involved, and there's a dark side to it that they're trying to push. We have one of the main spokesperson for that system we have in Vancouver, and we call her Dr. Death. Dr. Ellen Wiebe. And so she's really into targeting people who are depressed or mentally ill and who are young. Like, they want to expand this, so they want to make it, the new law will make it so that a high school kid, and this would be me, I would have done this. I guarantee you I would have done this. Grade 8, I would have done this, because I would have been there with my Anne Rice novel, my trench coat, my long black hair, and I would have come in bloody from recess again, because, you know, the boys were outnumbered by the girls 80-20 in my school, especially my class. So I would come in from recess covered in blood because they would have just shit kicked me on the recess field for no reason. And so under the new laws, I would be allowed to walk down to a pharmacist, get a death pill, and take it, and it would be illegal for them to notify my parents.
A death pill?
You know, the suicide cocktail that they give.
That's not what my cousin went.
Yeah, so if the way they want to make it possible for kids to do that, for kids to just go straight to a pharmacist after school. So they're really pushing it to a radical extreme here. And that's what scares people. Because, kids need help, kids need support. And also they're using the death thing to give people an option while denying them care. So if you deny someone housing, deny them food, deny them medical treatment, and then say, hey, and they've done this to me and my mom, they've said, hey, we don't want to give you a hip replacement, but have you considered MAID?
Well, so yeah, sounds like it's just getting pushed too hard, and that's one
There's
of those
a dark
things.
side to it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah,
there's a dark side
that
to
makes
it.
sense. I am sorry to hear that there is that. Like,
Yeah.
and you did talk to me a little bit off camera about that last week. I didn't realize there was such a dark side to that, and a push for assisted suicide like that. So I think it's just like with everything, like especially here in, well, also here in the US, I should say, the pendulum just needs to fucking balance out.
But will it ever?
I
Because it seems to always
In
be swing.
all
I guess
these
we can make it
different
swing
directions.
less. I believe we can make it swing less, because balance is the answer for sure, right? That is the answer, because we're always going to have psychopaths in our society. We're always going to have
Yes.
people that are truly evil, and
Yes.
they will always go to these things. They will always use them, right? Of course, you know, of course they're going to use trans as a cover, or you know, or death with dignity as a cover. Those dark people will use that. So we gotta stay astute, and we need to keep discernment alive. We can't just start, you know, accepting everything. The kid who just got killed in Vancouver, 23 years old, 25 years old, Keanu, he was denied many times. Dr. Death told him how to deteriorate his body so that she could qualify him. Flew him out. He flew out here without his family knowing. His mom and sisters didn't know, and she killed him. And he was depressed seasonally. He was fine in the springs, but bad in the winter. They would deny him mental health care, is what I hear. And his family was able to set him up with a nice place, but they didn't even get notified. There wasn't even a chance to talk to him. There was no opportunity. You know, and if someone doesn't want to die in the summer, but then in the winter they do, clearly that's a solvable problem.
Yes. Yes.
And all he had was diabetes. That was his big issue.
Okay. Yeah, there's so much that needs to be fixed, and unfortunately, the pressure that puts on each individual person is extreme. Like, we all need to be our own best advocates. Spiritual practice is incredibly important, even if somebody, or just personal practice, if somebody's like atheistic, you know, just therapy, just talking to people's to friends, whatever, anything we can do to come back to ourselves is the most important thing. And this it's a point of sovereignty and free will, and like, we are our own guides. It's something I just keep thinking about, is like, oh, I'm so deeply grateful for my family, my friends, my coven, my fans, my readers, like my animals, all these things. And at the end of the day, we are all alone. We're all alone in this, even though we're all the same consciousness. We're all alone in this, and if we're born alone, we're gonna die alone, and that means we need to be responsible for ourselves and what we do to the best of our ability. Use our support systems the best we can, but not get dependent on them, not get reliant on them. That includes my emotional support cat. That includes my therapist. It's like, we can't get reliant on them. It's up to ourselves, and that's why personal work is so deeply important. And it's a lifelong thing. There's no end to it. We're always doing personal work. At some point, the more personal work we do, and using our our tools, our support system, our friends and family, and these things, and we're only here for so long, and everybody has their own issues and all this. All that aside, here we are. here we are. So we need to be like, okay, let's self-assess. Self-assessing is helping ourselves, is helping everybody else in our sphere, our whole reality. Again, that's why the first chapter in Shadow Magick Spellbook is all about personal work. It's just one tool along the way. It's not the whole answer in my book. It's just like, here, these are some things that we can do to help focus into ourselves, because we need to know ourselves. Know thyself. Know thyself. And I would add, love thyself. Love thyself. Like my cousin Paula in Vancouver Island says, fake it till you make it if you have to. Smile. Love yourself. Fake it till you make it if you have to. Do whatever it takes to shine. We don't have to go and perform for everybody else. We need to be okay with ourselves and who we are. And we are all subject to change. And that's okay. It's beautiful. That's evolution. Life is evolution.
I'll drink to that. You might like this, Mr. Shadow Magick Adept. In the Golden Dawn, there's a line from the Initiation, the first one, that every magician, every Golden Dawn magician has this, if not playing through their head, on the fringe of their mind, ready to call on as an invocation. And it's a great line. You'll like this. And the phrase is, let me enter the pathway of darkness, and peradventure there shall I find the light. Or it starts off, the voice of ages said unto my soul, let me enter the pathway of darkness, and peradventure there shall I find the light, for I'm the only being in an abyss of darkness. From an abyss of darkness came I forth ere my birth, from the silence of a primal sleep. And the voice of ages said unto my soul, I am the one that formulates in darkness, the light that shines in the darkness, yet the darkness comprehendeth it not.
Gorgeous.
We say that a lot to ourselves. I speak for all Golden Dawn magicians there, and it's a powerful line.
Great.
Obviously, it's got hints of older texts within it, but the idea is universal. And that goes to what you're saying about, we're all alone. We're alone, but we're not alone. And that's the mystery.
Well, and that whole dichotomy is something that psychedelics have taught me. And also, deep meditation, deep spiritual study is the dichotomy, the paradox. We are all one. We're all one, but we're all individual at the same time. It's not mutually exclusive. And we are, our own gods, goddesses, and deities. And we are all the same at the same time. That's not mutually exclusive. We appear to be separate from nature, and we're nature at the same time. So it's like,
yeah.
And actually, sorry, I keep plugging this, but
no, that's why we're here. And I'm sure people want to be excited for it. The more excited, the better. And I've read it, so I've already used it. I used it with a Christian seminary student of mine. So if it's good enough for Jesus.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Shadow Magick Spellbook, my new book. One thing that I emphasize in there, was where I was going with that, is that I have one little aside in there, like a, an aside that's separate from the spells in that's discusses spiritual paradox. So everything and nothing. Another side to this paradox, which my dear friend Lisa Allen, who I mentioned last time, has a spell in there. I have 7 guest spells in there. One thing that she helped me kind of hone and define is the idea of spiritual paradox. One way that I see it when it comes to spell casting in particular, one thing that I've noticed since a teenager is that if you cast a spell in one direction and you do something very, very strongly with great intention, great focus, altered state of mind. You cast this magic, you align, if you want, you align the planetary energies, the zodiacal timings, and you align the herbs and the stones and the timing and astrological hours, all these things. Anyway, big blast of energy toward one purpose. The next day or 2 or 3 can sometimes have a paradox effect where you experience the opposite. So, like, for example, say that I'm like somebody who's releasing a toxic ex partner, like an ex partner or something, and then so I'll release that energy, and then the next few days the pendulum will swing, and it'll be like, contact them. Oh, you love them, you want them. Oh, contact them, reach out to them, do this, do that, and like, so it's like the opposite, and then eventually the magic will propel. So I think that, I don't know, that's just my experience. Again, my friend Lisa mentioned that was some of her experience too with various things magically. I don't know, like, how about for like the viewers or the listeners live here? I'm really curious. And then also for you, Frater, I wonder like what you make of that. Again, with the pendulum swing, because if we're casting something and having intention in a very specific direction, can it swing back before it evens out? Like, what is that? It's paradox is what I'm going at. Can't hear you.
My bad. Sorry, I need to be more focused. It's hard with a wine session. A wine session makes it hard to be more focused. So I have an idea with the middle pillar. Like, I think when you're not practicing a spiritual discipline that keeps you balanced and focused and pulls you back to center when you need it daily. If you're not doing that, I think you tend to be on this swing. And I've been on the swing. And I took a break even from magic. At one point in my career, I did take a break from magic. Kind of because I was curious, like, well, I've been meditating since I was 7. Got initiated into yoga at 7. Got reinitiated at 10, doing in the yoga cult that I grew up in. I used to say cult lovingly. It's a community, Maharishi, the Beatles. Yeah, yep. Come on, yep. We all know. It's okay. It's okay. It's got its up and its downsides. Thank you very much, Teaked. Super stickers. Mm-hmm. I feel like when you're in that place of balance, the imbalance that we create in doing magic, because you often do step into one side. You step to this side if you're working with this pillar, step to this side if you're working with this other pillar, or just any force. Anytime you work with any force, you're imbalancing yourself. Also, I tell this to my students all the time. Anytime you're progressing, you're imbalancing yourself. Think of walking. Walking progress is accomplished through imbalance, right? You step forward and you're all of a sudden off balance. You try and maintain your center while you step, but ultimately you only regain your balance when you land. And then you step forward again, so you're off balancing yourself again. But if you keep going, you find this equilibrium within the to and fro. So I like to think when I'm working with magic, like if I'm working with Gevra or Chesed, if I'm working with Mars or Jupiter or Mercury or Venus or any of these, any force whatsoever, especially working with spirits, you're stepping out of your center often. You maintain it, but you're also stepping out of it. So if you're balanced enough, though, if you have that practice, and this is the work that we focus on in a certain grade in the Golden Dawn, you work on having that stability, and that takes the form of often your physical space, right? Your altar, your sacred space. Have that altar, have an altar, have a sacred space, have sacred clothes and vestments that you put on only after you shower, and then shower. Or bathe if you're lucky enough to have a bath. Bathe, like you can get some essential oils going and put on those sacred things, and then you have this. Well, we call it a temple in Malkut, or just an inner temple is a good way to think of it. An inner place of calm and balance that you can return to. So no matter how imbalancing the magic is, because often if you work with a planetary force like like from your wonderful Planetary Magic book, which a few of my friends have written to me that they've gone out and gotten it, and are glad that I recommended it. So yes, I bought it as soon as I heard you diss it on another podcast, and I was
Yeah,
like,
I don't recommend it.
yeah, that's nonsense. You've told me off stream you do like it.
I do not.
You're a delightful host, Mechs of Contradictions, man.
I don't like it. I like
it's a
parts
good
of it.
one. And the way it's organized is wonderful, and it focuses on devotional practices to planets, which are so underrated, especially in the ceremonial magic landscape that I tread in so much. Devotional magic so powerful. You want to get a job, you want success in your business. Yeah, you can call a demon like Bune or whatever, or you could create an orange altar with some like orange candles and say hymns to Hermes or Mercury or some other god that's similar 3 times a day. Nice short little prayers, light some incense maybe, anoint yourself with oil, and you'll be shocked. Like I haven't seen anyone who's done that be like, it didn't work. I haven't seen it. And your book helps flesh out that approach to planetary magic, in my opinion, in a wonderful way.
Oh, thank you. Well, the one thing I regret about that book is that I didn't include planetary sigils or sigils in there, and more deep planetary magic, but I only had so much space.
That is something people like. Yeah, but it does take up space. And also, every book is full of sigils. Everyone uses sigils to sell their books. You're like,
well,
sigils,
seals. I guess I should say seals. Yeah.
Seals, sigils, all of it. I love that you made a planetary magic book that's sigil free, seal free. It's kind of cool. It's like, you know how to do that. Now here, let's put some content. Let's put some juju behind those sigils and show you how to turn that into a devotional. It's just a good book. I
appreciate that so much. Thank you.
You're stuck with me praising it forever, whether you like it or not.
Okay, yeah. I'll take it. But again, my new book, my new spell book.
The new book.
Only my second spell book. Yeah, again, first spell book. The difference is that this spell book, as you know, the rituals are much longer, a bit more intense, and ritualistic, and it kind of assumes that somebody is comfortable with total ritualism in these things.
Is this Robert?
Trevor, yeah.
Trevor. Trevor says, yes, we're all part of this living organism universe. Amen. That seems to be catered to us, the observer, and there's an elasticity where the universe rubber bands into place after the force of will. Yeah, there is, which is why I think having that grounding in earth, that bedrock of your sacred space physically manifest in the universe around you through all the accoutrements we use in magic, as silly as they look sometimes. I'm from the GD tradition, so we're the ones that even Wiccans make fun of.
And again,
for being,
and for others listening, that GD means Golden Dawn, by the way.
Golden Dawn, yeah. So we're like, I'm in the one tradition that even like the most far out neo-pagans will mock for being too colorful or too theatrical, very theatrical, right? Yeah. But the reason is actually something. It's a magical secret. The reason is because in the Golden Dawn we don't see colors as representing forces. We see colors as the force. And when you think about that, all of a sudden the Golden Dawn system takes on a whole new spectrum of meaning. Also, if you've ever done psychedelics and worked with Golden Dawn tools, there's a whole other layer there that we don't ever talk about for good reason, because that shouldn't be your reason for doing Golden Dawn magic. But those colors take on a whole other life after, on a heroic dose. I will say, yeah.
So do you feel like psychedelics mindfully is part of the Golden Dawn key?
I don't, because the Golden Dawn key is so much about control of the self and achieving these things soberly. However, the Golden Dawn is also about exploration and experimentation. I mean,
it's not orthodox, right?
no,
It's
yeah, I mean, it's not even religious. Like, unlike
yeah,
Crowley's Thelema, which is a religion, the
yeah.
Golden Dawn, like, it had Tony Fuller recently finally released after decades, thank God. Thank you, Lenny Peterson and Hermetic Science Enterprises, for releasing Dr. Fuller's masterful dissertation, his doctoral dissertation on the Golden Dawn. And this is a guy who knows more about the Golden Dawn than I can really even say, to keep it vague. But it's called Anglo-Catholic Clergy in the Golden Dawn, and he goes through the history. It's the best history book, and he goes through the history of all the priests, including Roman Catholic ones, who are in the Golden Dawn. And I know for a fact today, I know priests and in different denominations who are Golden Dawn adepts. I even know rabbis of major synagogues who are Golden Dawn practitioners, bringing that
Wow.
stuff into their community in worship. So, like, you know, there's a wide acceptance in the Golden Dawn tradition because there's no the belief is you can be any religion. That's the Rosicrucian ethos. The Rosicrucian ethos is any religion because we have that in the Fama Fraternitatis. They had members of different religions. Therefore, it can't be a Christian thing. It's not a Christian thing if you got people of other religions who are part of your fraternity. You can't call that Christian. It's highly Christian. It's very Christian in symbolism, but it's also open to other things. It's also why in the Golden Dawn we don't overly define what things are. Like, what is an angel? What is a spirit? What is a demon? What is enlightenment? Because that's up to your religion. Like, you should follow your path of salvation is to do with your religion. We're just here to teach you a system of magic that can illuminate that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now,
Love
if you're
that.
not a very religious person, then Golden Dawn can act as a substitute for your religion as a spirituality very easily, just as well as any spirituality, if not better. So you can turn it into your religion if you want, and a lot of people do, and that's fine because
Mhm.
that's your spirituality.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've never seen Golden Dawn as a religion. I've never even associated those two terms. It's a path, just like Freemasonry, which I'm initiated into, of course.
Yeah.
It's not a religion. It's
No.
it's a path. It's a frequency. It's it's a learning experience. It's a fraternity, and all
It's
these
brotherhood, yeah.
things. Yeah,
Making good men better.
exactly. Allegedly.
And Teeked asked, will I link your books? Yes, I actually, I thought I have them all linked in the description. If I don't, I have them in the description of the previous episode. Use my
Yes.
links. I posted affiliate links, so every time you use one of my links, you steal 50 cents from Jeff Bezos and give it
Yeah.
to me for to support Canadian healthcare.
Yes, you're right. In the first interview that we did, the part one that kind of fell apart, which I'm really happy that we kind of did because we get to chat now. All the book links are there. So yeah,
Now the time's flying. It's been an hour and a half, and I barely noticed it.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, I know. So something was we found the right vibe.
Oh yeah, I knew we would. So Teeked, if you just type in my author name, Raven Digitalis, into wherever, ravendigitalis.com, or just search it up on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, whatever, you'll find all my books. Yeah. So on my website, ravendigitalis.com, you can find descriptions for all my books and the official descriptions that I've modified, just boom, 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 right on the website. And then a person can also navigate to my website and find my calendar for tarot readings. I only use the Crowley Harris Toth deck for my professional tarot readings. And I also offer Reiki sessions on there. They can all be booked through the calendar there. And then I also offer customized spell kit services, which is pretty unique because my spell kit services consist of, which are really gaining in popularity lately, actually, which I love, and the success of them is awesome. And I don't do any curses, nothing to harm anybody, never like that. That's not part of my shadow work. Yes, that is shadow work, but that's not part of my shadow work. So the customized spell kits that I offer, again, at ravendigitalis.com, and you click on services, one can see the spell kits there. That consists of a 30-minute phone conversation to assess a person's situation, and then I physically piece together and mail your spell components with a scroll on parchment paper of your spell and the ideal timing to perform it. So that's a service that I'm really proud of. And honestly, I developed that while writing, again, Shadow Magick Spellbook. Because I'm like, if I can be of service to others in a way that is very tailored and poignant for each person, awesome. That's great. And one thing, even in this book, that I recommend over and over and over again, is that if someone looks at a spell, they should customize it and make it their own. We need to alter every spell. Don't do anything by the book. I think I even say that in my original Planetary Spells and Rituals. No, I do. No, I remember that. I'm like, don't do anything just by the book. Modify it to be your own. That's the powerful magic. Modify it by your own system, your own beliefs or lack of beliefs, or, what have you, or what tools you have to work with. Super important. I don't like, spells, like, can be recipes, but they don't have to be. Every recipe gets modified and tailored, like even with cooking. It's like we all add our own little flavor and flair and twist on things. Filling up my wine. Here's to good magic.
To good magic. Let's see if this works. All right, I just posted a bunch of links in the comments. Some of them don't work. Anyway, give it a shot. Looks like some.
We'll get there.
That's okay.
Trying to look at some of the comments here.
Yeah. I posted some of the links. Yeah.
There's just too many. They're too small. I can't. Oh, it's your post.
There's actually a setting where I could have let you see the back end. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, you're fine. Does
I'm still learning.
Anybody listening, do you have, or watching live, do you have any questions that you want to ask either of us that we, or like steer our conversation a little bit, or tell a joke?
Let's pull me a goth card.
Okay.
Blue heart, red heart, followed by love reference. Wait, every dish. Okay, yeah. So people are. Let me find some. There were some questions and comments that I can give you. Someone says, have made a voodoo comment. We get mounted.
Yes, they grew up.
Possessed by a Loa, used as a horse. Absolutely, yes. I love Maya Daren's Divine Horseman. Maya Daren, she was a student of Joseph Campbell.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, thank you, Rob, for that reminder. Yeah, because you get ridden like a horse in certain Vedant rituals when the possession happens from the certain Loa or Orisha. Yes. Wow, I didn't even think about that reference till you mentioned that. Thank you, Rob. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, and there's a comment about the middle pillar for me, but I'll have to answer that in a second. So I've linked some of the books. Some of the links didn't go through because I just mass spread it. Okay, there's a few comments. You should. Someone says I should interview David Griffin. He broke into my house and assaulted my friend who was the guardian officer during a neophyte initiation. So he destroyed these neophyte initiation, broke into the front door of my house, and assaulted the officer guarding the temple. Fortunately, she had a massive claymore, and the initiation was destroyed. We were all forced out of the temple. Like 50 people came out, saw him pushing his way and trying to force his way past her after shoving his way in through the front door. He found out when we were doing it through a spy he had sent into our order, like got someone to join our temple to report on what we were doing. And we had
Right.
nothing to do with him. I didn't know who he was. And he was on a campaign just to destroy me and my friends' lives for years. I'm friends with many people in his order, so nothing against his order, but he himself is in my naughty books. He's in my naughty
Well,
books.
I would say so. I don't even know who that is.
And that's his choice.
but
He made that choice. So sorry,
wow.
but yeah.
I don't know who that is, but I'm glad that you exposed
He is
the story.
the guy who trademarked the name Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in the 90s, causing the
Oh.
trademark wars, causing the Golden Dawn wars.
Because he trademarked
the name so he
the
could
Hermetic Order
sue
part?
of the Hermetic
part?
Order of the Golden Dawn. He trademarked the whole name.
The
So the
entire name.
Ciceros had to fight back, and they won. And he still holds the trademark name in Canada and in Europe. And that's why no one can use that name other than him in Europe and Canada. So he's a little slimeball, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, I love the Ciceros, and like I texted you.
We love the Ciceros.
Oh, yeah. And I met them once at International New Age Trade Show. They're on Llewellyn also for a lot of their books and their recreations. Yeah, what a sweet people. And their books have helped me understand Golden Dawn more than anything. Of course, also, Donald Michael Craig has helped with that. Bless his heart. I'm glad we could meet each other before he passed.
Oh, I'm glad you got to meet him. He used to teach in our order, but I never got to meet him.
Oh, yeah. Such a sweet soul. Same with Raymond Buckland. And then somebody else.
Crazy.
His name is escaping me.
I have to quickly, because of all this wine we're drinking, I actually have to run and use the restroom real fast. Do you want to read a little excerpt from your spell book, or no, we'll just go dead stream?
Yes,
do you want to read it?
Let's do it.
You want to read an excerpt while I go pee, and then I'll answer the Golden Dawn questions while you do the same.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Perfect.
Let's see if we can give you the stage. Hold on.
All right.
No, that's just me. How can we put just you?
Duty calls. Hi. Hope you don't mind the strange lighting. I've never experienced such strange lighting during broadcast, especially live. I'm so glad you guys are here live, and those who are listening afterward, I really appreciate it. So I'm going to do some bibliomancy. Let's see. Okay, my new book, Shadow Magick Spellbook. That's part of why I'm here. Look at that glossy cover. So the release date is March 8th, 2026. I don't know why I can't say 2026. What is my problem? I always say 2000 blah instead of 20 blah. Need to figure that. So I'm going to open this to a random page, which is part of bibliomancy, and we're going to see which spell comes up for all of us just to reflect on. We'll see what happens. Oh, nice deep breath. And bibliomancy, spirits and powers that be. Which spell shall we see? So shall it be. Okay, so it went to the middle of a spell. Ooh. This is called a soporific sleep pillow. So you see that symbol there. That's a symbol that I came up with. That's a combination of 3 Z's. So we all know the emoji that has the, well, even before, well before the emoji, ZZZ representing sleep, right? So soporific, connecting also to mine and Trevor's friend, Sopor Aeternus, the most underground goth band in the world. Soporific, that's the reason that I learned that term. Soporific sleep pillow. That means, very, a somber, a very deep sleep pillow. So this spell has to do with how to create a deep sleep pillow. So let's see. Sleeping and dreaming are, by their very nature, directly connected to the realm of the shadow. Okay, so this is in the 4th chapter of Shadow Magick Spellbook, where it talks about the other world and how we connect with the other world, and sleep and dreaming being one of those planes. Like the sun descends and the moon wanes, our bodies, minds, and spirits must also rejuvenate with good, solid, restful sleep. Okay, sleep has always been something that has puzzled me. I even still have a difficult time reconciling that we all need to sleep once a day, ideally, once a night. It's just such a strange phenomenon. And maybe that's because I got addicted to the Nightmare on Elm Street series from the age of 10 onward. But anyway, let's continue. Insomnia cannot be solved in these pages. And my highest recommendation is to seek out herbal or medical treatment if insomnia is your affliction. If your sleep has been unrestful in any manner, make a soporific sleep pillow. This pillow can be a small sachet to keep beneath your regular pillow, or it can be something larger that you snuggle each night, depending on your artistic inclination. Alternatively, keep this pillow or sachet tucked underneath your mattress. Determine the way in which you'll craft this pillow or sachet. You may instead additionally wish to craft a meditation cushion, depending on your intention. The best herbs for sleep magic and having a restful sleep include, well, think about Wizard of Oz. We got poppies. We know that. Think about opiates. We got poppies. As well as lavender, kratom, which Frater and I talked about earlier. Frankincense, peppermint, and hops for sleepy vibrations and protection in the dream world. For additional ingredients, check out this book's correspondences list under Dream and Vision Protection. Add a small moonstone if you can. I recommend the ones from India because they're real. Or some graveyard dirt or grave dust for an extra sleepy boost. So draw that symbol on your sachet or your pillow or whatever you're working with, or even just on a piece of paper, however you're modifying the spell for a good night's rest. At dusk, has to be at dusk, of course, the liminal time. Go outside, hold your pillow or sachet or your spell, whatever you've done, to the setting sun in the west. Enchant the bag by declaring 9 times, because 9 is the number of the moon and Yesod in Esoteric Kabbalah. Say, setting sun and restful dusk, charge this bag with Sandman's dust. The unconscious I glimpse and visions I keep, this pillow is enchanted for restful sleep. So, yeah, that's a fun little spell for restful sleep in this book. And it looks like Frater is back. Hello.
We're back to answer.
We reviewed a random spell.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's gonna make a good clip. Raven, Llewellyn will love that. I love that.
I hope so.
I heard it because I can hear even when I'm not at the command center. So
that's right.
The ear things. Yeah, I heard you. Fortunately, you couldn't hear me because I went pee and then smoked some cannabis. We're having fun, and I don't often do these sort of chill interviews. This is like a lot of my big fans, my long-term fans would know that this is sort of a return to form for me. Whereas when I left America, went to Canada, I got a lot more popular. The podcast really took off. It was kind of shocking because I started it, this new version of my podcast. My previous attempts failed, and then I started a new one during lockdown, and so I was very unfiltered and making fun of everything. I was doing fake ads for adrenochrome and just mocking everything. So this is how I would do it. I'd be like, all right, thanks for my guest Raven Digitalis. We'll be right back after this quick ad break. Get your 2-for-1
adrenochrome.
And then I'd say, get your 2-for-1 adrenochrome today. Adrenochrome is good for elevating your mood and longevity. Use code word Maxwell at checkout. And then, I'd be goofy like that. It was a wild time in the podcast. And then, more and more, then publicists started sending me emails. Like Damien Eccles, publicist, sent me an email saying he's got a new book coming out. Can he be on your podcast, but you can't release it for 3 months after? I'm like, yes and yes. And then I found out I was the only podcast selected for his book release, which was like wild because there's some bigger ones than me. I mean, not many, but there are. You know, I'm not big on YouTube, of course, but I appreciate everyone supporting the YouTube efforts. But I'm big on the RSS feed, which is what podcasts really are. Took a hit after Jason Louv. I actually lost like 70% of my audience after talking to Jason Louv. Yeah. So it's been building back up, but
no. After talking to you mean after talking to Damien Eccles is what you mean?
No, Louv. Last summer,
Really?
yeah, I took a huge hit.
Oh.
After talking to Damien Eccles, I was more popular than ever, of course. Everyone was thrilled, especially since people had told me to go after him back in 2020 because I discovered the 4 films about him and I watched them and I was shaking.
Oh, I did too. Yeah.
I was shaking. I was like, holy shit. And everyone's like, you got to try and get him on. I'm like, I'll do a little magic, but that's about it. And then I was the only podcast selected for his last book launch. So clearly the magic worked. And so if you want to know what I think about magic, then then I'll answer these questions from you guys, these little quick Golden Dawn questions. You want to say something?
Yeah, so I just want to mention that I may have told you this, but right after my first stupid book came out, Goth Craft, in 2007, Damien Eccles and I became pen pals for 2 or 3 years before he got released, and so we were writing each other by hand, and we've got a lot of each other's letters, and only recently, because of your podcast, Frater, this is why he and I have reconnected.
What?
Because I was like, why haven't I even reached... Well, I was like, why haven't I even reached out to him and Lori over on Instagram or something? Like, yeah. And so I did, and so then we reconnected, and it's great. I love it. And so it's nice to have a little conversation with him again. Yeah, so Damien is one of my favorite people for sure. I'm so glad you got to interview him. And again, with my stupid first book, Goth Craft, like I mentioned earlier, Jason Louv was the editor initially for this book, hired by Llewellyn. He did a fantastic job. So I feel like I'm in really good company. And I'm so happy that you got to interview both of those controversial figures. And I mean, controversy is one of those things like...
Sorry, I was muted again. I like that you're one of these people
Indian head bobble.
Yeah. I love that you're one of these people who didn't just hear 1 or 2 bad things about each of them and then write them off as monsters or whatever, because like I was skeptical about both of them when I first ever heard about both of them. I saw Jason's website. He basically launched the online magic school reality into the stratosphere. Sure, people like, but I worked closely with Oberon Zell in the Eleusinian Mysteries.
Oh yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Yeah, we smoked together in Denver.
So I worked with him very closely for over a year in the Eleusinian Mysteries with the Cauldron of the Western Sea and Marilyn Mother Bear up in the Emerald Triangle with Anaphin and all that when I was teaching at the church there in Geyserville, the ISIS Oasis, the Fellowship of ISIS. De Tracy Regula, Raven.
Yeah.
You're Raven.
Yeah.
You might know the other Reverend Justin. You might know him from Pantheon or something. Anyway, Oberon did start the Gray School of Magic a long time ago. But
he's
Jason
a friend of mine.
took modern marketing skills and internet literacy into that world. So when I first saw that, I was like, oh, this is awesome, but like, holy shit, who is this guy? And I did hear bad stuff about him, but what was interesting is he had lived in Vancouver, and while he was here, he had a friend who was like his closest friend there for him during some of his darkest times. And that happened to be also someone who years later, was one of my closest friends who was also one of the few people there for me during dark times. So I had him to be able to rely on. I just said to him, like, he's also an author of a chaos magic work. He wrote The Art of Memetics. So I'm talking about Eduardo Lobo, The Art of Memetics. Really cool book.
Huh.
I
haven't heard about it.
Yeah, the title, fortunately, these days tells you exactly why it's cool, whereas 10 years ago, people might have been like, what's memetics? What's a meme? No one says that anymore.
Oh, I got you now. Okay.
Yeah, so he looked at the chaos magic behind memetics and all of that. And so I was able to ask Eduardo, I was like, Jason Louv, what's his deal? And he was like, oh, he's a really good guy. And I was like, okay, well, that's all I need to hear. Because if, when you're that kind of friend, I think everyone here in the knows what a true friend is and what an important source of clarity they bring to your life, right? They help you realize, like, because everyone's a mixture of we all have bad periods and good periods. It's like, but sometimes you just want to be able to ask someone you trust, like, this is a good person. And with Damien Eccles, it was even more complicated than sort of, Jason Louv has been amazing ever since I got to know him. And as we recounted earlier, he has no problem apologizing to people he was a dick to or whatever.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, because he was a dick to me, and that's okay. Like, I've been a dick to people, and in the past,
like, put your hand up if you haven't been a dick once or twice in your life.
And that's the thing. When we're evolving and changing, we can dick out together and just like like move past it, and we're good. Yeah, it's like, it's all good. Yeah. I'll never.
Yeah, here's an example. Occultology. I'm not going to read that out, but you can just read it.
Yes.
So the guy he's talking about is also a friend of mine.
Okay.
From the whole Rabbit podcast, Luke, he came to Vancouver too, and I hung out with him and his fiance. And so, like, I'm friends with occultology, but I'm also friends with the guy he had a falling out with. And a lot of people write people off the second there's a conflict like that. But I really believe, like, and I think the good people get it. I think the good people get it that, you can't tell someone else who to be friends with, because, if someone's not treated you badly, you shouldn't write them off just because they made other mistakes, right? Yes. I mean, that's sort of what we're talking about. I think this is actually very empath to empath kind of dialogue we're having here, because these are the true dark subjects. This is the true shadow magic. What leads us to exclude, to other, to exile, to castigate those who we like to claim are worse than us. Yet how often are we truly looking in the mirror? And Damien Eccles is the shadow mage par excellence, if you pardon the expression, because no one's been through what that man's been through, and no one else will ever probably go what he's been through.
Yep, I agree.
That's the wine talking. But we were all him. We all how many of us resonated with being him, and how many of us felt like that could have been me?
Yes. So those listening who aren't familiar with Damien Eccles, please Google West Memphis 3. West Memphis 3. And then also Damien Eccles, DAMIENECHOLS, Damien Eccles. And
check out my interview with him. It's a two-parter. His beautiful wife. I'm still in touch.
Lori, she's just lovely. Yeah, and I'm so happy to be back in touch with them. And I really credit that to you, Frater.
I'm honored.
Because you did that interview with him, and like I said, I was like, why haven't I reached out, like, virtually? Like I would text Damien, but I texted him over the last couple of years, and I think he changed phone numbers, and it was as simple as that. And I was like, why was I not hearing back? Oh, I'm guessing not.
His fame shifted.
And then he moved addresses.
You don't have phone numbers anymore. That's a thing.
And then speaking of fame, it's just like, I don't think he or I or a lot of others in our field lust for fame. I don't want to be famous. I just want to fucking help people. If that increases notoriety, great. I'm not going on a talk show. It's like, no, this is the peak of my anxiety limit, is to do video interviews. And then on Saturday, this coming Saturday, by the way, more shameless self-promotion, I'll be teaching at WitchCon this Saturday. So look up if you want, WitchCon. There are over 100 presenters, some of the most acute witches and magicians in the world, particularly in the realm of witchcraft. WitchCon International. So my class will be at 11:45 Pacific on Saturday. It's a Shadow Magick meditation. So there's another little advertising drop.
I love it.
And if you sign up for WitchCon, you can have life access to these 100+ folks every single year who are teaching their incredible wisdom. Like, I cannot believe, my teenage self would not believe that I'm standing next to these incredible figures in the craft, in magic. Like, how am I standing next to them? It's incredible. I'm like, what? Like, my teenage self just like adoring, admiring these people. And like, here I am teaching classes alongside them. It's just a lot to take in, because I never thought that I'd be at that place. And it's not that it makes me better or anything. It's just like, I didn't know that was my will or my calling. And I'm just so honored to be able to help share what I've learned. And like, one thing that I do is really try to create material that I would have loved and grown from when I was younger. And we're living in a very chaotic time right now, and we need as much empathy and self-awareness and kindness as we can get. So yeah, so WitchCon this weekend, for those tuning in live. For those tuning in later, you might be able to do a sign up later, but anyway. Yeah,
I love it. The only reason I didn't probably get weepy last night talking to Mary Kay Greer and telling her how much, I won't repeat the story, but like, from teenage years on, there's a story there. Go check it out. But like, the only reason I didn't get weepy is because I was so nervous, and I had her for such a short amount of time. I wanted to do a really good job. But like, yeah, when I think about like the people that have influenced me, and then she like influenced me in a big way in my development in the 90s. And then at PantheaCon 2020, she was in my lecture hall as a listener. And I'm talking about Yeats, who I only really, I wouldn't be there talking about Yeats and the Golden Dawn if I hadn't stayed home from school pretending to be sick for 3 days in Vienna, Austria, in high school, so I could read her Women of the Golden Dawn book.
Whoa.
And she couldn't believe that. And then she and I, of course, got rather drunk afterwards and stalked Lon Milo Duquette down the halls and hassled all the people we could hassle. And there's a bunch of inebriated videos I have on my I think there's some on the YouTube channel, actually, shorts. Anyway, don't go look for them.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, it was amazing. Well, you go to the Radical Fairies.
Here's to that. Oh, Radical Fairies. Here's to them too.
You have intellectual talks with famous authors. Yeah. These people who influenced us, to get to rise up and then participate and collaborate with them, it's a real honor. It's amazing, and I think we have. The internet's provide us with this amazing opportunity to connect with each other. Like, your books I would have been obsessed with them as a teenager, right? Goth kid me. I know I look suit and tie, but that's just because I'm doing the planetary colors, right? But if you saw me walking down the street, I have like a black leather witch's hat and a long leather trench coat. Different vibe, me outside versus me, on a podcast.
Love it.
So, There's some Golden Dawn questions, yeah, but just to to get to participate, and you guys all make that possible. Like everyone here, showing up, participating, asking great questions, making inflammatory responses that I'm gonna now respond to. I'm just kidding. Here's something inflammatory. I think this is inflammatory. Let's do it, and it's your buddy, so let's go to it. It's 2 hours has flown by. See, you were wondering how do people do 3-hour podcasts? I'm like, this is how, because we actually 1 more hour isn't enough for what we have yet to talk about. So buckle up, people, or we might be in for a long night. So here
eventually
we go.
Eventually I'll have to leak the lizard too, but
yeah, anytime I can rant and rave about some of these. Wow, there's more questions than I even suspected.
I can barely see the chat, but I see that one of my best friends, Jerry Abstract, he's a amazing music creator and magician and graphic designer in Portland, Oregon. Thank you so much, Jerry, for tuning in. Like, he and I support each other's work. He designed my business cards, actually, and a number of other things, some advertisements, and like, yeah.
Here we go. Is that inflammatory? It feels a little inflammatory.
I don't care.
What's up? So imbalance is certainly one of the outcomes when you get into Hermetic magic. I mean, so I could say that about anyone's tradition I want to smear, but like, no, Hermetic magic is not about imbalance. It's about balance. And most traditions, probably at their best, are as well. So if you think Hermetic magic is about imbalance, I would question your approach. That's all I'd say. Or just be more, this is your friend, right, Trevor?
Yes.
Clarify what you mean. Otherwise, you're just, slagging. If you want to slag, it's okay. You're allowed to slag. I can take it.
I agree. Be poignant. Be poignant.
But like, make an actual point. That's just the same as me saying, like, you bad, me good. But there was some actual
I do have to say, he is a very wise person, though. And very...
Let's
anyway,
let's see him demonstrate that.
Yeah, demonstrate it.
Shots fired. Teaked, would you recommend middle pillar before hexagram rituals? What are the nuances? Okay, middle pillar's an advanced Golden Dawn practice. Hexagram rituals are not.
Well, you talk while I pee. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this is what I was saying. Yeah, let me do the Golden Dawn stuff while you say hello to nature. Hexagram rituals are traditionally done only by adepts after the solar initiation because you're working with the planets. So the outer order, you work with the 4 elements, and the middle pillar you work with when you achieve the 5th element, or fire grade or spirit grade. Fire, so philosophers are fire. Now I'm talking specifically in terms of the traditional past. I'm not commenting yet on modern iterations and modern innovations. So let's be distinct about that. I'm not smushing it all together and giving just some jumbled analysis. No, traditionally hexagram rituals are there for the planetary system, which begins in the inner Rosicrucian order of the RR at AC, Rosea Rubea et Aurea Crucis. The middle pillar traditionally is actually an end of the Golden Dawn ritual done in Portal or in Philosophus, and not in the way that we see in modern iterations such as Israel Regardi. Now, the new yeah. Ignoring, now that we've outlaid the tradition, hexagram rituals are often done willy-nilly by anyone these days. Okay, that's fine. You make the best of that if you can. If you're not doing the Golden Dawn system, there's no reason for you to follow the schema of the Golden Dawn initiate. If you are trying to initiate through the Golden Dawn system, follow the schema. But if you're not, yeah, use our hexagram rituals, use our middle pillar. And I'm fully aware of all the varieties of middle pillars. But the middle pillar in the Golden Dawn, it's good to keep in mind, really isn't a ritual, it's an exercise, which is to say that it is more amenable to various changes based on what you're doing. Would I recommend doing the middle pillar before hexagram rituals? Usually we do it after. If you're doing an opening, you do a lesser ritual of the pentagram, you do a lesser hexagram ritual, depending on what kind of force you're working with. You might do a, LRH of Saturn for the general invocation of the planetary forces, or you might do an LRH of just Mars, Jupiter, Sol, Mercury, depending on what planetary force you're working with. So, you know, there's a lot of variations of those techniques you can get into. And the nuances are the middle pillar you would do afterwards because you're invoking. So at the start of a ritual, we do a lesser invoking ritual, the pentagram, a lesser invoking ritual, the hexagram. We're calling in elemental forces in a purified way. We're calling in planetary forces in a purified way. And then we would do the middle pillar because all the energy we would bring in would be more balanced and more infused with the 4 or 5 elements and the 7 planets. So that's why we do the middle pillar after the hexagram rituals. And those are some nuances for you. There was one more Golden Dawn question that I'll just quickly address. And then we'll look for some other ones. Here it is, I think. Yeah, Trevor again. Same here. I'm more in the Golden Dawn tradition in the end, as Rave knows. David Griffin's ritual magic has accurate prints of the flashing colors. Color is force. Yeah, David Griffin's book is okay. He's not very familiar with the original Golden Dawn system. He was trained by Chris Monastre, just like Don Craig was, and Jorge and a bunch of other of my friends. They were trained by Chris Monastre. She was Rigardi's girlfriend. She trained in the Stella Matutina tradition that Rigardi was initiated into in the actual Stella Matutina, which is what that's why when you look at the Israel Rigardi's Golden Dawn, it doesn't say in the initiations, the Golden Dawn, it says Stella Matutina. And the Golden Dawn material has only recently been released, the original traditional stuff. Most orders and initiates like myself, we had to train largely over the last 30 years on manuscripts that were unpublished. And now we're starting to publish them thanks to certain people in our tradition. So yeah, David Griffin represents one flavor of the tradition, and his book is okay. It's the mistake a lot of people make is with the LBRP. We don't do LBRPs. You only do an LBRP if you're feeling unbalanced. Yeah. So the idea is originally.
I do.
Yeah, well, you can. It's so the reason you can is because there's not actually that much of a difference as you think between the LIRP and the LBRP. But originally in the Golden Dawn, it was the ritual is called the Lesser Ritual, the Pentagram, and it's an invoking ritual. And then in a footnote in the bottom of the manuscript, it's like, and if you are feeling unbalanced or you're working in a space you've never worked in before, do it this way, and it's called the LBRP.
So Crowley took the Golden Dawn's LIRP and lesser invoking ritual of the pentagram and did an addendum with the LBRP, or
no, that was from the original order. Like I have a manuscript,
but he like amplified that. Is that right?
He focused a bit more on the LBRP than the LIRP, which is probably where the misunderstanding originated. He might have overemphasized the banishing form. But traditionally, and now as a discipline, as a spiritual practice, traditionally Golden Dawn initiates do the LRP twice a day, invoking in the morning and banishing in the evening. But if you're not doing it as a spiritual discipline, which is often common after you finish the outer order, it's very common that you would move on to more advanced workings and systems of working. And then you might, and that's what I've done, we would focus on other rituals, but they're similar. But so when I decide whether I'm doing an LIRP or an LBRP, I focus on myself, assuming I'm not in a new space. Ask myself this: am I balanced? How do I feel? It's very empathic. If I'm feeling good and balanced and ready, invoke. If I'm feeling distracted, upset about something I watched or saw or heard, banish. Because they're both invoking spirit. That's why we draw the pentagrams in brilliant white light, right? That's why everything's white. Even the archangels in the original, in the actual ritual, aren't visualized in colors. The archangels, a lot of Golden Dawn initiates originally just visualize them as pillars of white light and not as these flashing color beings. And they're also always visualized as facing in, never facing out in the traditional teaching. So these are some nuances that initiates know that published got a bit muddled. But here's a trick I like to do. I recommend this one. You'll like this if you're a creative person, especially. When I call the archangels at the quarters, and now if I'm doing the Celtic version of this, I would be calling the archdruids. I visualize the pillar of white light, and then I let whatever emerge out of it that emerges. If the angel or archdruid steps forth, looking one way or appears as a wisp of smoke or as a bird or as a tree or as a cloud or as a being, I just let it be whatever it wants to be. And I just create the canvas of divine white brilliance, or DWB as we call it, for it to emerge from. And it's a nice way of bringing a bit more reciprocity into the ritual, rather than just always projecting all the time and trying to get your visualizations right. So, oh, is it holding a caduceus? Is it holding a sword? Is the sword on fire? I don't know. Just visualize columns of white light and let the spirits appear as they want to. And that's some good advice for conjuration and scrying in general.
So what you're saying tremendously reminds me of something that I bang on about in my empathy books, which, and thank you, Michael. Oh, thank you. That my readings are great. Thank you. Yes, I pride myself on that. If you go to RAVENDIGITALIS.com, I'm getting better and better every single time, and just want to help people with all my heart. RAVENDIGITALIS.com. Click on services, click on readings or spell kits or Reiki. I'm here for you. It's my honor. It's my duty. It's my pleasure. Thank you, Michael. And one thing I bang on about frequently in my empathy books. So, we've got like the Everyday Empath. This is the more new agey one. It's kind of written for everybody. And then I've got all my books here, as you can see.
You have an Everyday Empath book?
Huh?
You have an Everyday. I didn't even notice that when I was studying you.
Yeah. So
I've studied you a while now because we've done 2 podcasts. So wow. I didn't even notice that one.
Yeah. So this is for everybody. It's not occult focused. It's also available in Spanish, Spanish, and also in English on Audible audiobook. It's my only one that's on Audible or audiobook. Everyday Empath. That was the second one after I wrote Esoteric Empathy, which is still the favorite book that I've ever written. But one before the third one, the Empath Oracle.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get out the cards soon.
Yeah, I will. I promise. Just remind me. And one thing that I bang on about is the balance between what you reminded me of, empathy and psychicism. So there's psychicism. This is cerebral. This is ceremonial magic. Psychicism, it aligns, to the air sphere, to perception. We're all a bit psychic. We're all a bit empathic, unless there's a serious disorder going on. We all have this balance happening. And for those of us who, thank you, Michael. Shadow Magick Compendium, yeah. So the new Shadow Magick. Which is Shadow Magick Compendium? That's the new incarnation, revised, expanded, 15th anniversary tradition. Thank you so much. This one is on Cross Crow Books, revised, expanded, 3 times better than the original Shadow Magick Compendium book. Thank you, Michael. So empathy and psychicism, they go hand in hand, because empathy I see as emotional psychicism, or psychism. Emotional psychism is empathy. We feel, not only do we sense other people's emotions, this is what happens with empathy, but we absorb them. We need to process them. And then with traditional psychicism, which is very cerebral and mental, like one of the most famous newer books is Psychic Witch by Matt Oren. There's this a lot of emphasis lately on psychicism as well as empathy. So with psychicism, there's it's cerebral, it's mental. Like my friend Trevor, who's watching, much more cerebral and mental, and paying attention. He will pick up things, for example, that I just miss. And his wife, Chelsea, I hand-fasted the 2 of them last Samhain, Halloween, in the graveyard.
It sounds like I'd get along with Trevor if he's into GD stuff.
Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah, recommended. And one of our very dear friends studies with Mark Stavish also.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Which is awesome. So psychicism and empathy work, hand in hand. If I'm a good empath, I'm going to be a little bit psychic. If there's a good psychic, they're going to be a bit empathic. So what you said just kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Psychicism is here, empathy is here.
Yeah.
And there are other people that are very good with like physical work, like body healing, with massage, with acupuncture. Reiki kind of goes all over the place. With any sort of body work. But anyway, what are your thoughts?
Apparently Damien Eccles did an oracle deck with Travis McHenry. I know him.
Oh,
is that true?
I have no idea.
Oh, I think they did. Yeah, that's right. They did collaborate on something very recently. That was quite recent. Yeah. Yeah, we covered those questions. Just running through them all. So because why not? Because it's that kind of night.
Yeah. Run through them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Selena. You're amazing.
For another trench coat mafia member. I'm tempted to throw mine on right now.
No, don't say that.
Well, no, we mean like we were the goth kids who got attacked because of the Columbine thing, right?
Yep,
a lot of us got victimized because of the Columbine thing, just because we were others.
So something I remember is that
this is part 2, Essence of the Moon. Indeed it is, and it's going swimmingly, if I may say so. We're having a grand old time.
It's lovely. When the Columbine shootings happened, I was junior in high school, and it was excuse me, obviously horrific, just a horrible thing that began many other things after that. And so principal, vice principal, and the dean of my high school pulled me and my parents into their office after school, the day of or the day after that happened. And I was like, hey, I will not wear a trench coat. No. I don't want any association with that. And so they told me that people were being made uncomfortable because I was wearing black and I had makeup and dark hair and vinyl and fishnets and like all this straps and all this band t-shirts and all this kind of gothic clothing and style. And I was like, who has been offended? Is it any of the students? And they're like, which meant no. It was just them. It was just the authority. The dean, the principal, the vice principal, they were all concerned that even though the shooters of Columbine, fuck them, they weren't even into goth culture anyway. They liked a little bit of industrial like music, but they didn't even wear black most of the time. But I don't even want to give them any energy. So they were not into Gothic culture at all. It was just a, stereotypical scapegoat kind of thing, culturally. And so everybody made me not wear black for the rest of that school year. So I wore gray and didn't put on makeup and played along with it because I didn't want to get expelled. Even though those guys weren't into goth at all, and like Gothic culture is nonviolent anyway. It's suicidal, not homicidal. It's like, like
You just said the quiet part out loud.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a perfect segue, but would you honor me with a Oracle of the Goth deck?
Yes.
And then I think we should show the audience how cool streaming is these days, because you didn't realize people could give money. So I think we
I
should.
didn't.
You didn't realize. So I think we might turn you into a streamer here tonight. At least if you did a couple streams a month, I think you'd be very popular.
Please send me money, everybody.
No,
please.
well, streaming is fun. So this is what everyone does, and I participate in this too. I buy cards all the time when Jason or other people do draws. So after you draw for me, why don't we do open it up to the audience? You can get an Oracle card drawn for you from either deck by Raven, and he'll interpret it for you a little bit. Let's say people usually say $10. We'll just say $5. Throw in $5 super chat, and you will get a card drawn for you. You can ask a question if you want, but we'll show Raven, and I'll send Raven the money. Don't worry. YouTube takes 30%. Keep in mind, it'll just be a few bucks. We'll buy him a bottle of wine.
Thank you. So are we doing a general one first or drawing?
For me, yeah, I just draw a card for the Goth deck for me, and just give me a general read on it. I'm sure I'll read it myself too, of course.
Got it. So again, from a Gothic Witch's Oracle, the card that you got is called Meditating for Deeper Wisdom.
That is some kind of card, yeah. What's up? I can't tell with the resolution. What's up with the face? Is it demonized? Is it shrouded? I can't tell.
Yeah, exactly. She is
it's veiled. It's a veil.
Yeah, it's a big veil. A very large veil.
Sort of a dark Isis or Nephthys vibe.
Yes, that's right. And so meditating for deeper wisdom, if one checks the guidebook in here, it really summarizes what that means. Taking a step back, just taking a step back from all the obligations. It's not negating the obligations. It's just taking a step back and being like, okay, let me take some personal time meditating for deeper wisdom. So for a lot of people, this means creating a routine where you have a specific time of day and or night to meditate and reflect and gain wisdom. So of the entire deck, that's the card of meditation. So in short, it's time for you to meditate a little bit more specifically.
I can do that. Yeah, especially now that we're in a waxing moon. We have some good aspects coming up, some good energy. So thank you. Yeah. Beautiful. If anyone else wants an Oracle card drawn, you know what to do. Do you want to draw an Empath deck card for me as well to counterbalance that, maybe?
I'm gonna wait for the comments and
throw in a $5 super chat to get a reading. To get a card drawn.
Got about 20 minutes left in me. I haven't really eaten.
That's about it. Yeah, me neither.
So if anybody, okay, Gothic deck, please. Yes, that's for Rob. Okay.
All right, first request is free.
Okay, so Rob, I'm drawing from Gothic Witch's Oracle. You can hear the shuffling. Every day we're shuffling. Ooh, Rob. Yeah, this totally fits you too. Studying global spirituality. That's a card that you got, Rob. Studying global spirituality. So, so for you personally, because it's not a general reading, my guess is that there is a culture or cultures that might beg your studying a little bit more at this time and research, even from YouTube, from articles, from magazines, different cultures that you're not quite familiar with or you might feel an aversion to. that would be very good, very beneficial for you to explore, to help widen the horizon, and also get rid of any kind of prejudice. I mean, I've experienced that too. If there's any kind of prejudice toward a certain religion or culture, researching it better gives a bit, a more full picture. So yes, studying global spirituality. So yeah, study that global spirituality, whatever you're being called toward. Hope that helps.
All right, so while we wait for people to send in a super chat for Oracle thing, I will go back to my notes I prepared for our first attempt at this wonderful event. Which you sent me your empathy book, your esoteric empathy book. So I haven't got a copy, but I read through some of it, and I've made a list of some questions for you. Yeah, I wrote some questions down.
There it is.
So you say on page 23, empathy is not itself an emotion, but a process by which emotions are brought about and directed. So you're very deliberate in defining empathy as a process rather than a feeling or identity. How does that shift change the way an empath is ethically responsible for what they do with what they feel?
All of life is a process. We're always going through life. It's a step-by-step thing. So yes, the experience of empathy, if we experience a strong amount of empathy from somebody else or from a different situation or what have you, yeah, boom, it can be very strong. But there's a process of coming to terms with that, what we're absorbing, what we're experiencing, and moving through that and processing through that. What was the second part of your question?
How does that shift change the way an empath is ethically responsible for what they do with what they feel? So I was in a cafe once, and a magician had this feeling like this girl was about to die, and went over and actually went to her table and told her that, and said she saw her burning up in flames, and then came back. I was slightly shocked by this.
Yeah.
I think that's an example of what we're talking about. Like, what's the ethics of that?
Right. So what you mentioned was not solicited.
Right.
Especially to that detail. And that sounds more like psychicism than empathy, because empathy is purely emotional. 100%
I guess
emotional.
Maybe the ethical quandary is still there, though. Similar.
Yeah. Ethically, to freak somebody out like that is very difficult, because nobody who is psychic is, and we're all psychic to different degrees.
Like, what if she felt the girl was feeling suicidal and went over and said, "I sense you're feeling suicidal, and I don't think you should do it." Let's say it's that.
Okay, I did that to somebody in Hawaii, and it turned out to not be accurate.
Wow. So unpack that before we go to an oracle.
Right. So those examples correspond, because that was not my place to do that. It's a life lesson. I should have, with this girl, should have been like, how are you feeling? Should have asked more questions. So what's going on with you? Are you feeling distressed? You just seem kind of confused to me. Or, asking more questions is where it's at, I think, so that a person can suss things out. Because we all want to help others, but if we try to extend that help too much and too extreme, it can almost become egotistical. And it's like, hey, let me come in. Let me help you. Let me be the real
test helper. The waters, calibrate before you dive in to the bath.
Yeah, and it's all about solicitation. If somebody wants to help, great. If synchronicity brought a person to help another, that's also a type of solicitation. And in that case, we don't want to push it too far. We want to be mindful of the other. But yeah, it's challenging being, you know, hyper empathic or hyper psychic, and we want to numb those things out with drugs or oversleeping or playing video games or whatever one's gambling, whatever one's vice is. I get it. I struggle with that still. I've struggled with that a lot more in the past, but I still do. I get it. It's hard to be sensitive in any way. And I really am such a proponent of daily spiritual practice. So with the Golden Dawn folks that you advise with your students and within your practice, there's daily activities and all these things, and it's within a structural framework. So many people are not part of that structural framework, especially in the modern Western world. They don't have a particular framework. It's more about self-discipline. So that's why I'm such a proponent of self-discipline. So from my, Empath Oracle deck to my other empathy books, and then also my shadow work books, and plugging the new one again, Shadow Magick Spellbook. Self-discipline is huge. And this is about aligning ourselves with reality so we can be the best people that we can be. Everybody fucks up. Everybody makes mistakes. It's okay. That's just life. We as long as we learn from these things, awesome. So, a little bit of a tangent.
I love it. I love it. Forgiveness requires penance. We need to want to change to move on in our lives. And here's a request from @2toads. Thank you very much for helping me show Raven how awesome streaming is, and maybe we can lure him onto the interwebs of YouTube for a stream once a month or something like that.
That'd be fun.
Raven, what do you have for this old wood tiger? I think we're going with empathy deck by default, unless the person specifies Goth deck.
No. I got it already.
You already got it.
Empathy Oracle, Empath's Oracle. This is called Learning from Social Conflict. So, 2toads, wood tiger, learning from social conflict. Look at the beauty of this card, the intricacy, the layers, the levels. Again, these cards are all acrylic, no digital alteration. So, commenter, 2toads, learning from social conflict. Whoever you're conflicting with right now, or may conflict with in the near future, just hold your boundaries, but don't be too strong about them. Try to do a lot of listening and see what the dynamics are. Take a step back to see what the universe is teaching, because social conflicts can teach a lot, whether that's about establishing personal boundaries or about learning to see more from the other person's perspective, and again, finding a balance. So I hope that's helpful. Oh. I can't hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Big blessings. Much appreciated. We appreciate everyone tuning in and enjoying this.
Yeah.
We have a few minutes left. If you want to get a reading and throw in a $5 super chat for an oracle card now, it's your chance. Like, this is the end. I do still have some questions on your Esoteric Empathy book. Thank you very much.
Yes, please.
Chelsea should request.
Yes, Chelsea, card draw. Okay, Gothic Witch's Oracle wants to come out for you, Chelsea. We have Transcending Suffering. So, Chelsea, this connects for you with many things that you're leaving behind that have the imprints of suffering and sadness. Again, this art is by John Santonaros. It's all photography, transcending suffering. Yes, it's time for you to take your power back, which you know very well, and to realize that the suffering does not belong to you. It is part of your experience, but it's not something to hold on to. It's not something to keep and cultivate. Yeah, it's time for that part of you to go. So that, yeah, transcending suffering card. It's all about how you make it yourself and what works for you the best. Oh, and thank you, Two Toads, for that comment that I see there. So Chelsea, I hope that's helpful, and it certainly tells me that you're in the right direction, doing all of the magical and cathartic things to leave the past where it needs to be. And that's the thing, when we evolve and we move on from the past, it's not that we're spitting in the face of the past. It's that we're acknowledging the past and being like, okay, this happened, this is how it is, and this is how it was, and here's my future forward trajectory. And
So here's a question. So in Esoteric Empathy, you address the issue of identity labels and what you call, I believe, the empath trap. You say, quote, labels can be empowering, but labels can also distance us from the rest of society if we become attached to special identification. So here's my question. At what point does identifying as an empath begin to work against empathy itself? And how can people tell when they've crossed that line?
I think that's a wonderful question. I think that one big pointer about that is when a person who truly is very empathetic, and it doesn't, again, empathy doesn't make a person better or worse. I'm not a very good psychic. Again, psychicism and empathy, like, you know, it's all at scale. I'm not a traditional psychic by any means. But when a person hears others saying, oh, I'm a super empath and super empath, and then they'll, like, you know, go like snort meth like a few moments later and just make horrible life choices and be horrible to other people, you know, that's just an example. It's like it becomes a catchphrase. So we don't want to fall into the catchphrase thing. So I think it's about the community that we surround ourselves with based on what we aspire to. And the big thing is discernment, learning who is a fellow empath. Again, that's a label. Yeah, empath. Everybody's empathic to one degree or another, psychic to one degree or another.
But an empath is something culturally recognized. Actually, you might like this. I think you'll like this.
And
so when I went to Vienna in '97 for a year of high school as an exchange program, I went to Waldorf school. I had an exchange student who I didn't get along with at all. Years later, we became friends, like 10 years later, and even slept together with each other eventually. So, you know, we worked it out long term, but we hated each other for a large part of our student exchange experience. And they would hit me all the time. They would just hit me all the time. So I started throwing their cigarettes on train tracks. You know, grade 10. And then they just hit me more. So, you know, I'd be limping home with blood coming down my shins. And so it was actually not a healthy situation. But we worked it out, as I've already said. One day she hit me really hard on the head, right on the top, and it just shattered me. And she couldn't believe the reaction I had. And it's because I had just come down from my room doing ritual work, and it just was really rough. And I just was like so angry at her, and but I was also so balanced and open from doing my my LPRP and my middle pillar, that I just in a gush of openness told her everything of why that was so damaging to me. And she did, and I never expressed any of these things about myself to her before, because I was just there on a student exchange, right? This was not an actual sister. This was a host sister, a Gastschwester. And so she reacted. I thought she'd be furious, storm out, call me crazy, like, you nut job goth kid, keep your witchcraft to yourself. Like they could see in my bedroom, it was just all Crowley and like a little Scott Cunningham and of course Mary K. Greer on the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
But she froze. She got the message. And not only that, she said, "Oh, ich hat nicht versteht, dass du war ein Sensitive. And es tut mir leid, du bist ein Sensitive. You're a sensitive. I didn't know you're a sensitive." I'm like, "What do you mean a sensitive?" She's like, "That's a kind of person." And she explained it to me from a total Muggle point of view. But they knew about this where she came from, where we were in Vienna, I guess. There was a cultural understanding of eine Sensitive. And so she was like, "Yeah, you're one of these sensitives that just feels more of reality than the rest of us." I'm like, "Yeah." So she's like, "I'm so sorry I hit you on the top of your head. I'm aware that there's this thing around that." And I was like, well, this is actually, and then I felt taken aback, because I was like, this is a moment, right? This is a whole cultural trans-psychic moment going on here. Like, I'm realizing I'm learning a lot of lessons that I'll probably be unpacking in 2026 on a podcast with you, like clearly that moment resonated throughout time in my spiritual life. So shout out to my dear Austausch Mimi, ich liebe dich und ich liebe ihre Familie. So yeah, I love those people, and I've been back to Vienna many times, mostly on tour with my band, to hang out with them, and they're wonderful people, and I love them all to pieces. So yeah, we got some comments. Thank you, Raven. This was helpful. Also, I think your sleep spell is working on me. Have a good night. And thank you for requesting the oracle reading. Last chance for anyone who wants an oracle reading, send in a super chat. Raven, you mentioned your personal psychic ability. If I may say, only enough to say that it is phenomenally strong in your bloodline and you come from it. Limitless.
Oh, thank you. And Michael, I think it's the same Michael. I still have the rune necklace that you made me from the Smith bloodline. Very, very grateful. I'm not even, my blood ethnically is Norse and Pennsylvania Deutsch, which is German, but I don't vibrate with any of those deities or even runes. Like, my heart is Hindustani, very much Indian, and also, Wiccan, Pagan, Celtic, and all these things, and, cosmic with the Western ceremonial tradition. But yeah, I treasure the necklace that he made. I think it's the same Michael. Anyway,
if we had another hour in us, which we don't, but hopefully you'll start streaming and I can come on your stream sometime. I could easily spend another hour with you talking about psychic development, the manifestation of psychic experience. Like, we can let's put that in for next time, because you're the one of the few people I want to talk about that stuff with.
Oh, I'd love to, yeah. And maybe a part 3 is in order, like,
exactly
as silly as that is. But no, honestly, like, 1, I love chatting with you. 2, the audience and folks listening in, and that we'll do in future. And 3, look at this lighting that I've got. Like with this device I'm using.
It's amazing.
Oh my gosh, like, I actually feel like my Leo is being like, it's like, girl, you look good. It's okay.
Make a StreamYard account and start, like, try it out. Do draw cards. Like, I think you get into it. I think you'd be good at it too. So we have a request for a reading from Teak. Thank you for the donation. Oracle draw for newer magician but older female.
Is that who they are?
That's who they are. They're a newer magician but an older female. So in their late 20s, not their early 20s. Just kidding. Silly joke. Yeah, thanks, Teet. You've been a great participant all show. We love it because yeah, it was a weird thing with our first attempt with the technical stuff, and so there's a little bit of nerves going into this one, but we decided to both grab a bottle of wine, drink liberally, hang out, and just have some fun. And I think we made the right choice, didn't we?
I think so. Oh yeah, 100%.
Fabulous time. Fabulous time.
The card you get is Manifesting the Future. So
hold it right up to the camera there.
So Teek, the card you get it from the Empath's Oracle deck, designed by gorgeous. Me and me and Constantine Bax, Empath's Oracle deck, Manifesting the Future. So so too much dwelling in the past is what's happening here, and thinking about who you were and what other people defined you as and told you who you were, and holding on to that. And also feeling too many mistakes of the past. Oh, I fucked this up. I did this. I shouldn't have done this. Why did this person react this way to me? So a lot of past regret. So the card says, and your spirit guides, by extension, are saying, manifesting the future. Look toward what you're going toward, what will benefit you and others in your life, rather than dwelling in the future paradigm or scenario that your mind has built around you. It's not that you need to disbelieve your mind and your thoughts. It's that you need to kind of redefine those things so that you're not stuck in the past, but rather be like, okay, this happened, these things happened, let's move on and make room for betterment. And isn't that what we're all doing in our own ways? For you, it seems to be especially poignant. So hope that helps.
Beautiful.
And again, anybody can hit me up for a traditional tarot reading at ravendigitalis.com and go to, that'll come up with my books. Just go to scheduling or book a session, and I would love to spend an hour plus with you. Anybody truly looking deeply and honestly at what's going on in your life, and I'm happy to be here for you and with you. So, and thank you, Fredericus, so much for this talk this evening, and I'm gonna go eat something finally instead of just a protein shake. And and I can't wait for part 3. And just lovely and
wonderful.
As opposed to part 1, we can actually hear and see each other just fine.
Yeah, that was wild.
It was.
But it was still a good episode, so people should still check it out.
Oh yeah. And so much gratitude to all of the people watching live, and also to those who watched later afterward. So Frater's going to post my links and all the good stuff down below. Please subscribe to him, as I have, and I'm going to be watching some more of his interviews personally.
Check out my Mary K. Greer one from last night. Oh my God, it was packed.
She's just
we talked a lot about the neuroscience of tarot and divination. She knows her stuff.
Ooh. Yeah, she is just brilliant. Okay, I'm gonna probably watch that tonight.
Oh yeah. Like we and the you're gonna like it. The Mary Kay Greer one is actually really, really good. I stayed focused. I stayed locked in. Didn't weep about gushing about how much she means to me. I love that Trevor has responded with this beautiful. I love T.S. Eliot, but as if a magic lantern through the nerves and patterns on a screen. That is wildly prophetic, isn't it?
That is. Yeah, I love it. Oh, thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap up unless anything happens in the next 10 seconds. We will draw to a close here our sacred circle and praise the gods and goddesses and spirits that have gathered around. And we should release them. Well, let's release them. Shall I release as I would a magic circle? I think so.
I believe so, yes.
Veniste et hac petitione mihi respondisti, ago Deo gratias in cuius nomen venire, ite in pace ad loco tua et redituris ad me cum te vocavere per Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. I now release any spirits that may have been imprisoned by this ceremony. Go back to thine own abodes and habitations with the blessings of the Divine One. We'll release all of those spirits and daimones that flew into our bodies and minds and souls and all those gathered here. We'll release them back to the universe and take with them the energy and dross and gold and all the metals they pulled from our planetary spheres, and send that goodness out into the world, and to the darkness, let it be purified in earth.
Let it be purified in earth.
So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Everyone has an inner shadow. When you acknowledge and respect that shadow, you can use its power for healing and personal evolution. Award-winning author RAVEN DIGITALIS provides 144 spells, charms, and rituals that make it simple to work with internal and external shadows for positive change, no matter your path or skill level.
Enoch, great mother, Ama and Ima, behold my return of Saturn. I have grown, lived, loved, and look ahead. Blessings to Saturn, mighty force of life. I honor the past and walk forward in wisdom.
Like and subscribe.